Sets of workshops that we provide, especially traveling all around the world, partnering with the like-minded organization. The first is interpersonal skill. Here we focus on body language, body movement, gesture, posture, facial expressions, emotions, because this is especially the problem for the born blind people when the world is dependent upon this visual. When we can't see, we can't learn, and nobody thinks it's necessary to teach. And the second is dance, fashion, and beauty. Being a dancer myself, I love dancing, and now I want other blind also to dance. We actually want the blind people to dance so that they don't need to sit in a corner while they are in a picnic or a party. The third workshop we provide is adventurous trip like rock climbing, rafting, paragliding, hiking.
यो राफ्टिङमा जानुभन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ मलाई मेरो घरबाट नजाऊ भन्नुभएको थियो कि म जान्छु मेरो साथीहरू सबै टोटल्ली ब्लाइन्ड साथीहरू चाहिँ जानुभएको छ म त यतिको देख्छु नि भनेर दाइलाई मैले फोर्स गरेँ हैन
Blind rocks. Also to create the mindset change in the society. Everybody faces challenges, and especially we as a blind and disabled are really good in overcoming challenges and transforming it into the assets. We as a blind also live a rocking life.
Blind rocks the world.
Blind rocks the world. Blind rocks the world. It's like that. Is it like that or what?
Blind rocks the world.
Blind rocks the world. Blind rocks the world.
So that was me. My name is Srishti Kesi. I'm from Nepal, the founder president of Blind Rocks, and also gonna be your host for today, and I have not forgotten my co-host today.
Thank you very much, Srishti. My name is Nora, the intake coordinator at Kanthari, and welcome to Kanthari Talks 2022.
And it's a day 2.
Yes, it is.
Yes, we started yesterday with 8 speeches, and we are looking forward to listen to 8 more inspiring and spicy speeches today. It's a 3rd edition of Kanthari Talk, and this time we are at our own beautiful campus, which is just at the shore of Belani Lake, and we are very delighted to have the audience watching us from all around the world through our live streaming channel, and very, very grateful to the live audience present here. Yes. Nora, so before we move on, what about sharing our dear audience about our Kanthari?
That is true, but Srishti, you have been a part of Kanthari for the past 10 years, and for the talks you've been coming back for the past 10 years, and you are an alumni as well. I think you are the best person to tell us about Kanthari.
I think you're right. So sure. So Kanthari is a leadership institution that offers 10-month lasting experiential learning course for the people coming from the margin of the society. Our participants actually comes from around the world and from diverse background. Like some have PhD, some have no formal education at all. Some are blind and disabled just like me, and others have no disability at all. And this does not matter, you know. All it matters is the sense of ownership, passion, and the motivation that they have to create a social impact back to their own community. And this process we call change from within.
It is also important that we talk about the impact facilitated by the Kanthari program.
Yeah.
So far, we have trained over 240 change makers from 50 different countries. This has resulted in 150 plus registered organizations that are making impact in the lives of thousands of people in the margins of society.
Yes, we take 15 participants every year. It's a very tough process, intake process. Nora is the intake coordinator. But we have 3 phases of our Kanthari course. The first one is even before they arrive here at Kanthari campus. It starts virtually. Second is once they arrive here at Kanthari campus, which lasts for 7 months. And the third or the final one is again when they go back to their own country, to their community, and are ready to implement their project, and through the guidance of Kanthari mentorship program.
Our participants address many different issues ranging from environment, education, human rights, LGBTQIA+ issues, women empowerment, food diversity, and many more.
definitely want to know a little more about Kanthari, right? So I think let's invite our co-founder of Kanthari, Mr. Paul Cronenberg.
Good morning, everyone. Sometimes you wonder how something starts or started, and we go back a long time. So once upon a time. And the most important day that happened for the birth of this institute was the birth of Sabriya. And we are lucky that we have Sabriya here and we have her mom, who we see, she's going to sit now. Well, without Sabriya's mom, none of you would be here right now. Okay, so thank you. So fast forward, at some point we met, Sabriya and I met in Tibet, pure by sheer coincidence. And we started a project together, Brave Without Borders in Tibet, also pretty much by sheer coincidence. But then, once we started that program, we knew that we have to do something else. What's the next step? So we sat down and everybody knows about the dream factory that we have with our students. We asked them what they dream of doing, and then we try to facilitate that. So we had our own dream factory, and we said, what is next? And we were thinking of an International Institute for Social Entrepreneurs, IISE, that was in our mind. And we started picturing this. And of course, we were in Tibet, and it was cold in Tibet. Oof. There was hardly any oxygen to breathe, and we had tough times there. So, and then at some point we said, okay, we're going to start an international institute, but where? Luckily, we had an interview with the New York Times with Jim Yardley, and he wrote an article in the New York Times, and it is, of course, New York Times, America, and we said already we want to go to Kerala. But he said, Kerala? What is that? I don't think Americans know where that is. He says, let's say the south of India. Maybe that they know where that is, right? So he wrote the south of India, that's where we want to start the center. And an article came out, and the first of many hundreds of emails that came in as reactions was from a guy named Naveen Ramachandran, and he's here from Trivandrum. And Naveen wrote us, and he said, great. South of India? He says, Kerala. You come here. So he invited us, we came here, we looked at 50 plots of land, we met with lawyers, we learned about the registration system, and number 49, because we took a lot of effort, we had a wish list of what we wanted. It should be on a water body, it should be not too far from an international airport, not too far from the city center, it should be fresh and green, and we started looking, it was a long list, and then this was plot number 49. And when we walked here, and there was nothing here, there were just palm trees here, and when we walked here, and about the corner of this building, there was a slope going down. And at that moment, there was a little breeze that came from the lake, and that hit us both. And Sabriya started smiling, and I was squeezing her hand and said, don't smile, price goes up. So, and we said, this is it. We didn't have money at the time, but we still signed a contract, and luckily it all worked out, and that's why we're here today. Another reason that we are here is that it's the center of the world. Oh, quiet. So usually the locals, they say center of the world, Trivandrum. Well, just picture it. You have the world map, you go down to Trivandrum, you draw a circle, you enlarge that circle, and at some point you will see that it's Australia, Asia, Europe, Africa, and what's in the center? Trivandrum. It's the center of the world because in that circle there's about 6.5 billion people. And that's where most action is happening on the planet. Yes, there's something happening in Middle South America as well, but not as much as here. So literally we're in the center of the world. So welcome to the center of the world. And today, from the center of the world, we're going to listen to 8 more dream speeches of people that are going to go back and make a difference in their world. We're not changing the entire world. We're changing communities. But if we keep going, at a rate like this, it's going to take a long time. We need many more other people that start similar training centers. But if we keep on going, and we have plenty of Kantharis going out there, the world will change, and it needs to change. So I wish you a wonderful event today. Please help us spread the word so more Kanthari change makers out there somewhere that don't know about this place will have the opportunity to learn about it, apply, and who knows, come here. And next year or the year after, they're going to be on the stage presenting their dream speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
And I think also thank you, Cornelia and Sabia, for making this happen, right?
Yes. All right, so I would like to start with introducing our panel members. Just like yesterday, we have a team of panelists present here with us and a team of panelists joining us online.
Yep.
I would like to start with Avanish. Avanish identifies himself as a selfish philosopher. He is the founder of Lemontastic, a beautiful green space which focuses on bringing out the inner potentials of individuals. A motivational speaker and a happiness expert, Avanish believes in the immeasurable possibilities of the human mind. With a background in medicine, Avanish went on to specialize in clinical psychology and then philosophy. He is a consultant and mentor for various state and central government projects related to disability and disability startups. He is currently pursuing an interdisciplinary PhD focusing on consciousness.
Welcome, Avanish. Happy to have you.
Next on the panel, we have Sharon Noordin. She is the founder of Let's Live, a mental health advocacy and awareness NGO that works for the prevention of youth suicides in Kerala since January 2018. She is also an Kanthari alumnus from 2017. Her aim is to build awareness among youngsters about their mental and emotional health so that they can seek help when in need. She is also aiming to create a mental health team of volunteers in colleges for peer support and inculcate positive life skills which will help them sail through difficult life situations.
Welcome, Sharon. Happy to see you again.
Let us now get to know our online panelists. First on the panel is Shreya Parekh. She is a highly decorated solution journalist with 10 years of experience in documenting lesser reported stories of social change. She has covered over 1,000 stories from different parts of India and neighboring countries. She is the founder at the Stories of Change, and she's back for day 2.
Welcome again, Shreya.
You super pumped to be part of it after yesterday's powerful speeches.
Thank you, Shreya.
Next on the panel is Farouk Musema from Uganda, a 2019 Kanthari alumni. He is the founder of Ability Sports Africa, which uses sports as a platform for social inclusion and fostering reverse inclusion, where the disabled include the non-disabled in their activities, with the goal of reducing societal stigma with discrimination on disability.
Welcome, Farouk.
Hello everyone. I'm really grateful to be here and congratulations to all the participants of 2022.
Okay, Shrishti.
Thank you, Farouk. Yeah?
Why don't you tell us the format of the event?
Sure. So the format is like we have 8 speakers for today. So each of them will get 10 minutes, which will also be followed by 10 minutes of question and answer. In order to keep ourselves on time, we have timekeeper. Yes, you see hello from the timekeeper with her bell. So you will hear this ding in the beginning. That means the speech has started. And if you hear the ding bell again, that means your 10 minutes is over.
After each speech, we will be showing a short film. Every short film is a documentary about our Kanthari graduates who have already realized their dreams.
Exactly, so that means Kanthari talk is not just a talk, it's actually happening, yeah? So I want to also a little bit talk about our Kanthari speakers. So most of them are non-native speaker and it's even their very first time to be on the stage. Many of the challenges that they are going to address are also the challenges they have already overcome in their life.
Yes, and to have a smooth running of the event, here are a few instructions. The speeches will be recorded so that they can be published online later. To have a smooth running of these recordings and to not have any disturbances, I would request everyone present here with us to please switch off your phones or keep it on flight mode. Also, please do not walk in or out of the auditorium when the participant is on stage presenting their speeches.
I want to also say something not to do is not to click pictures, which you might quite get tempted to do so. But we have our own official photographer who will be clicking all the pictures, and the pictures will be shared online. So I want to also say something that you have to do, but you have to do in certain way. So definitely we all need to use the restroom. So in our campus we have very eco-friendly toilets. One, you find it in our academic block. Academic block is once you enter from the main gate, just the right building is our academic block. The other one is just here, to my right. Yeah. So to keep our eco-friendly toilet eco-friendly, I would specially request gentlemen, please sit down for your both number 1 and number 2.
All right. We will also be taking a 30-minute short break between every session. So we request all of you to be seated back in your seats 5 minutes before the next session starts. And I guess we are lucky because you're already seated. So time for us to start our speeches.
Yes. And Nora, you know what? This white hen,
Yes?
for me it symbolizes independence and confidence, yeah? But normally when I'm walking with my white cane,
Yeah.
or even if you find someone walking on a wheelchair,
Yeah.
or rolling with their wheelchair on the
Yeah.
street,
Yeah.
people are sticking their tongue out and doing what,
Ah, so much pity. Yeah?
Yeah.
But you know what? When you get to know the very first speaker of today, you will understand that her wheelchair gives her independence and empowerment.
Absolutely.
Please welcome on stage Deepak Kiran from Varanasi, India.
Yaga, your mom is here.
I always have to come pick you up. Everything has to be special. You want this, you want that, just because you are disabled. I am tired of you. I wish you were dead.
What did your mother just say?
Never mind, it's just a joke.
Is that a joke? You know what my father did to me? He left me on the railway track when I was 2.5 years old to die. Said I would bring water, but he never came back. I saw some mouse crawling on the railway track and I started playing with it. And the train was about to come. Someone waved the red flag and the train stopped. Luckily, I was saved by an old man, and he brought me to home for children with and without disability. Being in this home, I never felt disabled. But at one point, Sangeeta, the founder of Kiran Society, she said, "Deepu, why don't you go to English medium school and make new friends?" I was happy and excited to make new friends. But I still remember the day I entered my school. Teachers and students, they were staring at me, mocking at me and laughing at me. They were whispering in the air, "Look at that Langdi. It means crippled." But at the same time, I was proud of myself. I was the only disabled child in this school. Unfortunately, I couldn't continue the school because there were no ramp. There were stairs. I couldn't go to the toilet independently. Sometimes I urinate in my pan, and the auto rickshaw driver had to carry me like this. And it was embarrassing. Many disabled children don't receive education, even primary education. There are many reasons for this, but I want to focus on 4 major causes. First, stigma. Parents of children without disability don't let their children to play with children with disability. They think that disability is contagious disease. Second, religion. People believe disability is a result of bad karma. Third, taboo. People, they don't want to call us disabled. Especially the politician, they polish the word disabled. They call us specially able or divinely able. You know how they call to a blind person? Visually challenged. Why don't they call us as it is? Fourth, ignorance. People, they don't know what we can do. That's why they don't give us the opportunity to show our ability. Do you remember COVID-19? I was in my room. I was frustrated. I asked Sangeeta, what next I'm going to do in my life? She said, you always wanted to do something with children. I said, yes. When children, they come to my room, they play with doll, they play with ball, they paint with me, they dance with me. They feel so happy that they don't want to go back to their parents. And this gave me the idea to start an inclusive daycare center for children with and without disability between the age 1 to 5. Join me to Adventure Wheel. A friendly caretaker will greet you and lead you to the rooms. First room is full of toys, studying materials, small chairs and tables where they can sit and learn. Second room is a craft room. It is full of materials where they can paint, they can draw, they can make a hut out of mud. Third room is a physiotherapy room where children will get treatment from an expert. Fourth room is a bedroom where children can sleep and dream about their future. Last but not the least, it's an adventure room where children will learn how to climb on the walls, how to be more creative and active by moving their bodies. What we offer to our beneficiary is to enable them, to make them face all the challenges and obstacle comes in their life.
Hey Deepu, wait a minute. Why should I send my non-disabled son to your daycare center?
Thank you for your question. In our adventure wheel, your child will experience disability as a possibility. By the way, adventure stands for excitement, and the wheel symbolizes continuity in life. That means never give up in life. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with our Q&A session.
Yes.
We can have the first question from Avanish, please.
Hi Deepu.
Hi,
It
everyone.
was an inspiring presentation.
Thank you.
And congratulations on dreaming amazing. So how do you plan to launch the project, as to where and how do you and why do you expect parents to send their children to you? Children with disability, let me start with that, because you said that what is going on is stigma, religion, taboo and ignorance.
Yes.
While those things are still active, why and how do you expect the children to come to you?
Okay. Thank you for your question. So, parents of children with disability, They don't know that there is a place where they can send their disabled children and they can get care. I have seen many disabled children after age of 5, they send their children to a school, and then the parents, they heard that, oh, your child is not able to learn. Your child, we cannot take care of your child because he is disabled. And then parents, they are worried about their children, and they don't have a place where they can send to their children when they are 1 to 5. So, and even they don't understand what kind of disability their children is having. So I believe that if they will have a place where they can send their children and the children can be taken care, a good care, where they can have physiotherapy as well and the education as well. So I think they will love to send their children to my adventure wheel.
Okay, I hope so too. But I would want to reiterate the question you received from the audience during your presentation. So you said that children without disability would get exposed to and would understand what are the possibilities of a person with disability. But most of the parents with children without disabilities, they don't care what their children get exposed to or experience. All they want is their children to learn well or study well and score well. Still, how would you convince them into this inclusive
I agree
world?
with you. Parents, they teach their children, oh, this child is disabled. You should not play with this child. But the children always learn from their parents. And if child will see from their childhood that disability is not a contagious disease, it's just a mindset that disability is like this and like that, he will not see disability as any disease. He will see as a possibility that if he can do, he is disabled, if he can do, I can do much better than them. So he will be more active and more confidence on him.
Him means the child without disability.
Child without disability.
So are you implying that a child without disability can do better than a child with disability?
No, I am saying that if they are together, they will learn that even if there is a difficulty in learning, like if child without disability is not able to learn anything, he can just take a help of children with disability and learn better. I'm saying this.
Okay, that sounds better. I might have more questions, but perhaps once the round is over. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Next question from Sharon, please.
Hey, Deepu.
Hi.
So, you were dropped at the railway station how many years? How long back?
2.5 years old when I was.
No. When did this happen? How many years back?
Now I am 28.
Okay, so I should do the maths. Okay. So, okay, 26 years back this happened. Okay, now imagine today another child is being dropped at the railway station today at Varanasi and is brought to this adventure wheel. I want you to tell me the main 1 or 2 major difference between you and this child. You were dropped there at the railway station, you grew up without the adventure wheel. Now this girl child has you an adventure wheel. So 26 years down the lane, I'm going to sit you side by side and ask you, what is the major, tell me something different about you two. So tell me what do you see are the major changes this person's life will have that you lacked and you needed?
When I was 2.5 years old, he dropped me because maybe I had a polio, and then when I came to Kiran Society, this Kiran Society was not an orphanage, but then she took me as a child of her, and so I think when I am saved, I feel lucky that he dropped me on the railway track. I don't feel pity on me that he left me, and I don't feel that parents, if child is disabled, he should leave there, and child should feel that if I am disabled, that's why my parents left me on the railway track. he should be more confident. I will give him, if he comes to my adventure wheel, I will tell him my story, that look, I was also on the railway track, and you should not be pity on yourself. You should be confident, and you should be proud of yourself that you have come to a good place. So yeah, I think this major what yeah.
So you think that the major difference would be that the sense of abandonment that you felt as a child,
yeah,
this person will not feel, and there will be a sense of belongingness and be a support.
Yes.
Okay, good luck. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Let's move on to our online panelists. Let's have a question from Shreya, please.
Hi Deepu, and congratulations for coming so far in your journey. It's really inspiring and encouraging for other people as well. My question is more towards the logistics of it all. You don't have a space as of now to actually build adventure wheel and organize these workshops and classes and daycare school. So where will all this happen? And have you already had conversations with existing schools and facilities? How are you going to start with? What will be the starting point of it?
So where I live in a Kiran Society organization is helping me to support and with my adventure wheel, and maybe I will have a place where I can open this daycare center in Kiran Society already.
Okay. And do you have resources to engage students in that? Like, do you have more teachers, or are you going to single-handedly take care of all the blind children and all the other disabled children that come to you?
Yes, in Kiran Society there is a HRTC, it's called Human Resource Training Center, where youth, they get a training to become a special educator. So I can ask for a volunteering for starting, and then maybe we can have special experts in this field.
Okay. Do you have a date for it? Like, when is your first session is going to start? First daycare day is going to start?
For now, I want to get trained for taking care of children. So I am going for a training where in a daycare center, so I get more confidence that I can take care of children. So maybe after March, we'll launch our daycare center.
All right. Okay. All the best.
Thank you.
Can we have the next question from Farooq?
Yes, hello, Deepu. Nice speech. I'm really grateful and happy. I'm going to ask you about finance, your budget. I've been looking through your budget. I wanted to start with your one-time cost, and you plan to train parents. And I want to ask you one question. How long will that training take in a day? How many hours?
Okay. So I want to collect parents with children without disability and with disability, and I want to train them that they should give their children education from their childhood about disability, and a parent should also get education about disability, how to move wheelchairs, how to use the cane if the child is blind, and how to use the braille. Parents should also be aware of this mobility. So I am planning to have a workshop with parents, and for the children also in the weekend while I am having my training. I'll give training to children in Kiran Society. We have lots of staff, and with that staff children, I'm going to give them training. And my budget is like maybe 4 lakh for starting, for the workshops for children and for parents. Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to ask the last question. If you can give me...
Farooq, I think you can write it in the comments, and then we will send it to her. Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you.
주먹 아가씨만 깨우다가 얼른 깨우시마나 주는 주 사대
अवरोध मुक्त वातावरण भए हामी सबै स्वतन्त्र रूपमा रमाउन सक्छौं
주먹 아가씨만 깨우다가 얼른 깨우시마나 주는 주 사대
Noora,
Yes?
you always ask me a question, right? What's on your hand?
My hand?
Yeah.
I have a script and intros and...
The paper, yeah?
I have a paper, yes.
I think you need that supporting aid.
I do.
And
I'm
being
sorry.
blind, I don't need anything. Who is disabled right now?
Me, right now, me. I accept.
Yeah, so I think like what just Deepu showed through her speech with her dream, and what we just watched from Amrita Kewadi, Kanthari participants from Nepal, 2016 alumni, was showing the possibilities of disabilities, right? So it's not inabilities, but rather abilities. We are all able in our own way and disabled in our own way.
Yes.
All right then. Noora,
Yes,
let me again
Shrishti.
ask you a question. Because
Again?
before you keep shooting me all the questions I wanted to ask, yeah? How long have you been working as an intake coordinator here?
Since 2019?
2019.
Yes.
Then you don't know our 2013 Kanthari alumni Lorena Akula, right?
Lorena? Of course I know Lorena. How can you say that?
Oh, how?
Yes, she was here with us for the extra business course called BASH that
yeah.
Kandari offers. Yes?
Yeah, she came this year, yeah?
Yes.
So the next speaker who's coming up on the stage today, don't you think she resembles Lorena Akula?
I think she does because they worked together for quite some time and she's here to learn to open her own branch, another branch of Future Vision Homes that was founded by Lorena.
Yeah.
So please welcome on stage Josephine Esperanza Milan from the Philippines.
What would you do if your child becomes blind overnight? Let me tell you what my brother did when his only son, John Michael, became blind on his 15th birthday. John was so devastated that he refused to get out from his room. Whenever John get around the house, he always bumped into furnitures and get himself hurt. And being the loving and caring father, my brother covered all the sharp edges of the furniture with a thick cloth so that John will not get hurt. But still, he got hurt. So he decided to remove all the furniture in the room, all sat on the floor. To be with John all the time, my brother rejected a high-paying job offered from abroad. Despite of all the love and care John received, he still attempted suicide. You know, too much love can kill you. I was also once a victim of overprotection. My family pampered me, being the only girl among 5 siblings, and privileged to study in a university. But my dreams to become a civil engineer was shattered when my father passed away. I felt so hopeless and helpless. My world tumbled down. But I realized I need to stand up and become independent. I continued working for almost 32 years to support my siblings. I got bored with the routine life I had and decided to spend the Christmas vacation with my brother and his family who shifted to Taguig City, Manila. When I arrived in Taguig City, I saw my nephew, John Michael, just sitting in one corner, looking so pathetic. He is always sitting alone in his room. He cannot do anything on his own. This is not just the story of John. There are more than 40,000 blind children in Philippines who are also doing the same, sitting alone in their home, doing nothing, and cannot access education. You know why? One of the major reasons is the overprotection and the lack of knowledge of parents of the services and skills available for the blind, which make them even more disabled. Another root cause of the problem with respect to their communication, mobility, and self-confidence, and also the discrimination faced by the children and school and from the mainstream society. The situation changed for John when Lorena Acula, 2013 kanthari and founder of Future Vision, visited my brother's home. It took a lot of effort to convince my brother to send John to Future Vision. Future Vision is a residential learning center that provides a safe, supportive, and homely learning environment for blind children to access education and be a part of society. I decided to accompany John to Future Vision. Being there, I was so inspired by the work Lorena was doing, how she empowered her blind beneficiary. Let me tell you what I saw in Future Vision. On this side, you can see children learning how to read and write in Braille. Listen to this Braille typewriter.
My name is J.M.
And on the other side, children sitting with their laptops and mobile phones with the voice synthesizer.
My name is J.M. and I am living in Future Vision. My name is J.M. and I am living in Future Vision.
And some of the kids going out with their white cane to buy groceries. And other children are outside playing goalball, a board game for the blind. And some of the kids are jumping, singing, and screaming. Oh man, they can be also so naughty. I could see some of the kids cleaning their room. One is cooking rice, and some are frying eggs. And once while they're washing dishes, they are creating a lot of mess. And even playing with the cell phone, scrubbing each other's face. And I remember how the house parent ran to them and said, "Stop it! Clean everything and go to bed." All these were skills to prepare blind children to integrate themselves into the mainstream society. But before they can access schooling, they must undergo a test. This is to check if they are ready to attend regular school. But Future Vision doesn't stop there. Regular follow-ups are done. In no time, I was hooked with the vision of Future Vision and decided to volunteer myself. During my stay, I came to know that there are some children who are struggling with their mathematics. I tried my best to help them out. Oh, it was not an easy task. I had to relearn and unlearn the way I communicated with them, verbally describing everything I see. And I remember one night, some of the children ran to me, hugged me, and said, "We passed our math exam. Thank you, Tita." I was so overjoyed and moved to tears. I witnessed the positive impact that was created among the lives of more than 100 blind people, just like my nephew, John Michael. And without knowing it, 6 years had passed. I thought about my own hometown, Iloilo City. I know that there are also many blind children who are still being overprotected and need of the same support. But Manila is too far from Iloilo. It will take you more than an hour travel by plane. So Lorena and I decided to replicate Future Vision in Iloilo City. And you know what? John will be one of the specialist teachers of Future Vision in Iloilo City. By the way, did I tell you what is John doing right now? He finished his schooling and waiting to enroll in college. And currently, he hosted a youth program from one of the famous radio stations in Manila. And at the same time, he is the president of Persons with Disabilities Organization with more than 500 members from his locality. All this was possible for him because he was empowered, not overprotected. Did you remember what I said in the beginning? That too much love can kill you? Overprotection. Let them explore. Empower them to be independent. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. Time for your Q&A session. Let us have the first question from Farouk.
Yes, thank you, Josephine, for the wonderful speech. My question is, I understand that you want to achieve inclusive education, and your organization is part of the system that will make an inclusive education in your city. My question is, what is the intervention you have put in place to ensure that the regular schools, the schools that our children with disabilities will be going to in the mainstream, are well prepared to accommodate and receive our children with disabilities so that they can participate actively, they can be present in school and also achieve at the end of their education? What are these interventions you've put in place?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
At first, the experience I had, seeing children inside the classroom without any knowledge or skills how to integrate themselves. They are just a decoration in the classroom. So we have this pilot project that we are going to have which we call as teaching at home. We will prepare our kids all the skills that they need so that they can integrate themselves into the mainstream society. So they will learn how to read and write through Braille, and especially their mobility, so that they can walk and navigate independently going from home to school. So all the skills were prepared for them within a span of 2 months. But if ever they're not yet ready, continuous learning will be applied to them.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, can we have the next question from Shreya, please?
Hi, Josephine.
Hello.
So you've worked with Future Vision and now you're replicating their model. So I want to ask you, what is your biggest learning from that model, and what do you think worked best for them, and one thing which you think didn't work that well and you'd like to change in the model?
Yeah. For my first few months with Future Vision, I really have a hard time how to cope up with all the needs that the blind children is having. And at first, looking at them, I just feel pity and sympathy. So on the process of my volunteering work with them, I realized, oh, there is still life beyond blindness. So all the skills that were trained for them, that help them to integrate themselves, the learnings I have with Lorena really gave me a great motivation and inspiration that blind children can also do some awesome work. Imagine just seeing them walking alone with their white cane going to school. It's really a happy moment for me, and this inspired me, especially the story of my nephew, who became blind and became hopeless. But with Future Vision, all the skills that he was able to learn, he was so empowered, and we're really proud of him. Before, he was just doing a reclusion in our home, but right now, he really go out in the society.
Thank you. Can we have the next question from our offline panelists? We'll start with Sharon.
So Josephine, overprotection is the root cause, right?
Yes.
So why do you think people are overprotective? What emotion does it come out of? Fear?
No, yes.
Fear?
Yes.
Is it love or fear?
It can be both. It can be fear and it can be love.
Okay, so if it's fear, it could be because if I leave my child out, something bad would happen, a bus might hit the child.
Yes.
Right? It happens to people with all the senses here in Kerala. It doesn't have to be a blind kid, because parents here are overprotective, and at least I can empathize with you a little bit. My question to you is, does Jan have a smartphone?
Pardon?
Does your nephew, he has a smartphone?
Yes.
Okay.
He's so really good at using that, and actually he is also one of the our beneficiary who always help her co-blind to how to explore how to use the smartphone.
Okay, so tell me how you can leverage technology to overcome this fear. It could be the fear of navigation, reaching a place, or learning.
Yes.
There was a lot of difference probably 20 years back when you are blind and you are left in a room. You can't learn, you can't cope, you can't navigate. But technology has so much advanced these days, and your organization name is Future Vision.
Yes.
And there are so many artificial intelligence applications with vision and cognizance and all this. So how technology can help the blind and overcome fear?
Yes.
Have you thought about that aspect? If you could you just
Yes,
tell? Yeah.
it's really a big help with the technology right now. When I first met Lorena, I was really so I feel so awesome. Imagine learning that she traveled alone, going here in India, going to Singapore, to Malaysia. Oh man, what did she do? How can she do that on her own? So on the process of my staying with them, I realized that all the technology that they're being aided how to be independent, they can navigate on their own. So the fear that they have before, that just sitting alone on their home, totally vanished and eradicated.
So does your program enable bringing in more technology to people who cannot afford it so that they can have the same privilege like this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you also.
Over to you, Avanish.
Thank you. Josephine, it was a very energetic presentation.
Thank you.
So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. Just to take a leaf from what Sharon said, I think empowering them to be ready to move to the regular schools or to the society,
Yes.
I think digital and technological literacy is a very important part
Yes,
of it.
yes.
So if it is not there already, you have to integrate it in your program.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion.
So my question is, when a person, a creative person, thinks about starting something, the person always wants to start something new
Yes.
of her own or his own. But you decided to reinvent the wheel, something which is already there.
Yes.
So what uniqueness are you as Josephine going to bring to this? You know, because if anybody can replicate, then what is your necessity in this world for this program?
Yes. Lorena is Lorena. Josephine is Josephine. So the motivation and the inspiration I have, at first I really have hesitation to replicate this project because I'm already happy working with them, seeing all these kids being independent, having a happy life. But then back home, I also knew that there are so many blind. And before coming here, I was able to talk with the president of Iloilo Blind Union, and he told me that the project that I'm going to put up in our hometown will really help a lot of them. Especially, he said that there are many children of the blind that they are just stuck at home on their own comfort zone. And also, one of the SPED teacher in Iloilo that I was able to have a communication, he told me that he has in regular school, and he has 7 blind children. Gradually, every day, just one of them stopped until no more blind student that he has. And I told him, what's the problem? And he told me, although the school is free, but the necessities they have, food, transportation, going to school back home. Since our project will be a residential center, we will be a house in one, so that I can follow up everything that they're doing, and also I will try my best to really help them out, seeking help, support, to have these children go back to school, go to school every day, until which they can already reach their dream. So I think the uniqueness I have, I could see what's happening in the home. So I could see what will be the problem, the lack of what we have to let these children be independent. So I can easily bat in what should I do to solve all these problems that before that we're also facing in the current future vision.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a person with blindness among your co-founders or in your top management?
So I've been working together with Lorena, who is also blind. I have the 2 specialists that I'm going to have to help me with the project are all totally blind. One is my nephew, and one is the specialist teacher right now, but she will help me in our project in Iloilo.
Okay, that's wonderful. One last question. I see from your budget document that you're not drawing any salary from the organization, or did you miss it?
Just, I did not think at first, for the first year that we have, I did not see it as a salary. So I just have allowance for our specialists, house parent, and me. For the thing that we are staying in one home, so it will be free board and lodging, so they cannot spend anymore. So they just that allowance as their own pocket money.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josephine.
Thank you, Josephine, for that powerful speech. So the next video will take us to Nepal, my country. So it's Chito Plama. He's a Kanthari graduate from 2010. He comes from one of the very remote part of Nepal. It's called Humla. So to give you a little bit of context, so when you reach to Humla, to reach to his project, there's no vehicle. You have to actually go on a horse ride, yeah? So it's that remote. So there he has been starting this school, preparatory school for the blind kids, what just Josephine was also sharing, where they learn all the skills that they require in their life and they are proactively integrated back into the school. So you see, Kanthari Talks is not just a talk, right? A lot of those who spoke on this stage the previous year are now successfully running the project. And let's see Chito.
My name is Chito Plama. I'm from one of the most remote district of Nepal, Humla. When I was small in a local primary school, I was partially sighted. Humli children with visual impairment especially, and persons with disability in general, they have no access to any means of services. I realized that I have to do something in my own place. On the basis of skills that I received from the inspiring training of Kanthari, I started Head Nepal in 2011. We went throughout the villages and identified children with visual impairment limited at their home, and we had trainings of daily living skills and braille reading and writing. We also include the parents of the children as well. They even don't have idea about how to grow up their young child with visual impairment. In May 2012, we started a residential training center. Here we have now 20 children, so they can build their confidence together. For totally blind and severely low vision, we have braille reading and writing practice, and they can learn daily living skills, how to walk around, because the geographical condition is very tough. So they have to learn, they have to know what techniques can be used in what particular circumstances. Along with that, they are getting computer training. The extracurricular activities like sports, music, and drawings like that.
मेरो नाम लक्ष्मी साई यहाँ पछि पढिरहेको छु अनि कम्प्युटर पनि सिकिरहेको छु नाच्छु गाउँछु पछि पनि पढेर धेरै ठुलो घरमा 11 जना थियौं घरमा खाना कहिले पुग्दैन थियो कहिले पुग्थ्यो पहिला कहिले जान्थे कालासिल्ता स्कुल पहिला त पढ्दैन होला छोड्छु सोच्दै थिएँ My name is Chaya Sunar. घरबाट हेर्ने पनि आउँदाखेरि हामीले कम्प्युटरको व्यवस्था छ पनि कम्प्युटरबाट कम्प्युटरले बोलेर हामीले सुन्न पाएका छौं
had Nepal's children, first they crossed the 1 year, one educational year in Balmandi Secondary School. They haven't the eyesight, but they are listening and doing the all things which we provided into the classroom. Other students look everywhere. Had Nepal's children, they are focused on the teaching, learning activities.
And Head Nepal is one of the most energetic organization I have ever come across. What Chito has achieved, first getting all the children from these remote villages and bringing them here, I can't stop thinking what they would be doing if Chito did not find them in all these villages.
The future of these children will be bright, but in the same time, there are so many of adult people with disability who are living with poverty and discrimination. We had chicken keeping training last year for 20 persons with disability, and also we have basic needs support service, disability information advisory services, radio programs, workshops, seminar, rallies, and public programs.
पढेपछि म पनि सरहरू जस्तै पढाउन पाए हुन्थ्यो सचिन स्कुलमा त्यति कम्प्युटरमा काम गर्न पाइदिए हुन्थ्यो जस्तै कति कलाकार त्यो भन्नुहुन्छ
Head Nepal sees a Humla and a Nepal where all persons with disability are actively participated in all sectors of society with high position and respect.
Okay, that was Chito. Okay, we noticed that we have some more people that have joined us in the session. So can we request everyone that is sitting in the back to please fill in the seats in front, so that when we have more people coming in, they can then, you know, fill in the back.
Yeah.
Okay. Also for the people that just came in, few instructions: please switch off your phones or keep it on silent mode or flight mode while the event is going on, and please do not walk in or out of the auditorium when the speeches are happening on stage. Thank you so much. Okay, let us go on to our next speech. But before that, Shushti,
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Oh, I thought today you forgot to ask me question.
Not
and
happening.
now your question mood is on.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Ask then, ask.
So, just imagine, all right? Imagine you were not a social change maker.
What?
Or you were not the founder of Blind Rocks.
OMG, it's hard. It's hard to imagine.
Just try, humor me for 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you were not this, what would you have been?
Oh, okay. Then I would have been astronauts. Go to the space, you know. But I don't know. Is it possible? I mean, are there blind astronauts?
You see this question and hesitation that she just had? Well, the next speaker is here to change exactly that. Please welcome Wana Song from Cambodia.
Science fiction writer Jules Verne once quoted, "Science is made up of mistakes, but these mistakes it is useful to make because they lead little by little to the truth." But you know, we Asians, we don't like mistakes. We Cambodians, it's the same shit. As a blind Cambodian child, I was pampered, overprotected, and underestimated. But nevertheless, I was a curious child. But the Cambodian my parents left behind, curiosity carried a death sentence.
On April 17, 1975, the 5-year civil war came to an end. The people of Cambodia were out on the streets cheering. They were overjoyed and hopeful because the war was over. It didn't matter who was victorious. All that mattered was the war was over. Their feelings of joy and hope were soon dashed when the victors, the Khmer Rouge, showed their true colors. What ensued would be 4 years of ultra-radical, murderous policies that killed about a quarter of the population by famine, disease, being overworked, and execution. The Khmer Rouge wanted a classless agrarian society. Everyone was to toil in the fields. Anyone whom they deemed impure to the ideology was eradicated, including scholars, engineers, and scientists.
I was born 4 years after the Khmer Rouge got deposed. 4 years after I was born, my family and I resettled to the U.S. After arriving to the U.S., I was given treatment to prevent further vision loss. The U.S. education system wanted to show my parents their blind child could be as self-sufficient as all the other children. But my parents had their reservation. Learning such skills as cooking, that was out of the question. My mom said she would teach me to cook when I got older. Well, I'm older now, and I've learned to cook, but not from her. During 3rd grade was when I discovered my interest in science. I saw scientists as brilliant problem solvers and was impressed by how they described our natural world. During 7th grade, they had a tactile model of the human brain to help us comprehend the topic of the human brain. I couldn't believe it when they brought a real human brain. We got to touch it, we got to feel it, we even got to hold it. During primary school, I never thought about barriers to learning, accessibility, whatever. If there was a problem, I was presented with solutions. But those solutions came harder to come by as I advanced through the system into high school. Courses such as earth science were mainly videos, lectures, scribbling on whiteboards. At least the textbook was in Braille. That's as accessible as it got. I wanted to be a physicist, but I couldn't picture the prospect given how things were at the time. There were a couple of things old folks used to say to me. On one hand, they would say, you're very fortunate to be in the US. You have so many opportunities. On the other hand, some old folks would ask, why don't you just stay home? Let people take care of you. The attitude of my family and some Cambodian folks in the US may have been backwards, but did you know, in Cambodia, if parents gave birth to a blind child, they would often wish the child would hurry up and die, so that the child could be reborn as sighted, so they can have a better life. When the Khmer Rouge took over Cambodia in 1975, they shut the country down and turned the country upside down. They destroyed and dismantled everything that made Khmer society function, from 2,000 years of Cambodian culture to the modern contemporary education system. As a result, Cambodia has had to rebuild many of its sectors from scratch. The World Economic Forum has ranked the quality of primary education system in Cambodia as low as 110 out of 140 countries. The blind are completely left out of the public education system. Only one organization offers education to Cambodia's blind, but they don't teach science. Conventionally, science has primarily been taught through our visual sense. But what if we could begin to think differently about science? Not to rely too much on the visual sense, but use an approach that would engage all of our senses. Wouldn't that help with grasping science topics? That's why I will start Kadap. In Khmer, Kadap means to grasp. By engaging all of our senses through a story-based, experiential, hands-on workshop, Kadap wants blind Cambodian children to get excited about STEM. It starts with setting the scene. The background story is given, along with tools to enable participants to work their way through the story. They then discuss amongst each other a plan to move forward with the information given so far. They then test their ideas before finally presenting their findings or proving their solutions. It's not just about exploring the world of science. It's also about gaining important skills such as problem solving, critical thinking, teamwork, and of course, mistakes are okay. Now, let me give you a taste of Kadap. Thank you, Ms. Watson. Folks, there has been a murder. But the killer didn't do a very good job of cleaning up. There's clues all over the crime scene. We got footprints. We got piece of clothing. My God, what's really going on? This footprint feels like the left footprint. We can measure it. So about 6, 7 inches. From this, we can calculate the killer is about approximately 5'3". Piece of clothing. Seemed like the killer got chased by the victim's dog. Did you know fabric burns different, feels different, smells different? This feels like cotton. Smells like cotton. Is it going to burn like cotton? Would you look at that? Yep, it's cotton. The victim's cell phone. Here's a voice message. Let's listen.
Why are you not answering my call? Don't you know your cow is in my yard again? For the millionth time?
Wait, what'd you say? Rewind.
Hey, why are you not answering my call? Don't you know your cow is in my yard again? For the millionth time?
Oof. She didn't sound too happy, does she? Sound like a South Indian accent from the coast of Kerala. Folks, we have a profile. South Indian accent, coast of Kerala, likes fancy clothes, about size 6 shoes, 5'3". Anyone of you fit that description? I'm not a pedagogue. I'm not a scientist. But I am the same curious child as before. Through that, I want blind Cambodian children to be able to boundlessly explore their curiosity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanna. Let us start your Q&A session with the first question from Avanish.
Hi, Vanna.
Hello.
That was an incredible pitch. Very, very interesting. And the actor you got, hilarious. So, my question is, it says that you've chosen STEM model of, education to happen at GDAP, which focuses on science, technology, engineering, and math. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. Have you heard of another version of it which happened later called the STEAM?
Yes, I have, which incorporates the arts.
Arts also. So you think art and creativity is not important?
It is.
Then please enlighten me, why STEM and not STEAM?
I've mainly focused on STEM, but I haven't really focused much on STEAM as much as art is important, and they have incorporated a lot into their curriculum around the US and a lot of Asia. I'm still working on myself in how to develop that, and if I were to incorporate it myself. And my culture and many other cultures are very artistic in general and in nature. And so myself, I'm developing it myself. I'm not neglecting it. It's just myself, I'm figuring out how I would incorporate that.
All right. Okay, because why I'm asking is because the art part of STEAM is not just about the artistic part of learning or the world. It involves a lot of creativity, and I believe that when you incorporate creativity into your process and project, it will in itself help find a lot of solutions to the problem of accessibility or inaccessibility.
I understand, and I see that, and I'm working on that.
Thank you.
Over to you, Sharon.
It's a pleasure to meet a science enthusiast at Kanthari stage. It doesn't come very often. So my question to you is, in a very scientific way, we say when it comes to a computer, you give input, there's a processor, and there is an output, right?
Yes.
So the only difficulty when it comes to people with visual impairment is the input part, where you lack the sensory input that is essential, right?
Yes.
A very wise person once told me that, that is a good thing for her, because, while you travel from the railway station to Kanthari, you will be distracted by all the billboards and all the people, good looking, bad looking on the road. I'll be sitting inside the car working on brainy stuff. So that wise lady is here. So my question to you is, when we sighted are distracted by so many useful clues, you are gifted with the talent to analyze and focus on what is essential. So there is a part, the processing part, the middleware, which actually helps you get a USP over the sighted person. Have you thought about that aspect? There is an input, there is a processing, there is an output. And because you are not distracted, by focusing more on the processing part, you will be able to provide a better output than the sighted person. Am I right to think so? What do you think?
Yeah, it will depend on who you're working with. I mean, a lot of people can be distracted or not distracted. It doesn't have much to do with what you can or cannot see. For myself, I can most of the time not be distracted, but at the times I can get annoyed and be distracted. But it just depends on the zone that I'm in. If I'm in the zone and working, then I won't care.
Okay, so your intervention, does it focus on processing the input, sensory inputs, or is it on just getting the input part, or is it more on focusing on how to process the input and the delta that you lack when you're starting the tab?
So it's about the input, and it is a more accessible input using all the senses, whether it's auditory, olfactory, or tactile, not just the visual, because primarily, conventionally, science has been taught through our visual sense. And when you do that, it excludes all the other learners and how they input and understand the topic in the world.
And you have used any apps for that? Any apps you come handy that would help you get inputs in a much accessible way?
As for the app part, I'm in touch with an organization here in India who does the app and things, at least on the Windows end. But that will come later down the road when I'm more established, have things done. But right now, I'm doing like a low-cost solution and all this kind of low-end type of thing.
Okay, good luck with your detective agency.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sharon. Can we have the next question from Shreya, please?
Hi, Vana. My question to you is, how are you going to find and train teachers who are equipped to work with blind children, especially in the field of STEM, which requires a lot of expertise and experience?
So I won't be working by myself. I will also be working with people who have experience in working with teaching and training teachers to work with blind students. And in Cambodia, right now, they want, because I spoke with the organization that will be integrating me after I leave here to actually I can implement my project. And the thing is, Cambodia doesn't have access to labs. And I spoke with another person who does work with technology and laboratory equipment. And what they do is they have a mobile lab type of deal. So they have little carts that filled with experiments. And right now those experiments are about hand and eye coordination and not so much hand and brain coordination. So what I want to do is work with him and see how can I make those carts, those mobile labs, more accessible to everybody, including the blind students, work on hand and brain coordination and not so much hand and eye coordination. So that way the blind students and the sighted students and the teachers can work together.
Okay, so have you also partnered with other institutions and schools and colleges to use their spaces? And where are you going to organize all these workshops and classes?
So I will be using the space at the only schools for the blind in Cambodia, and also the space that's provided me by the organization that will be integrating me in Cambodia, and as well as other spaces at the institutions in Cambodia, whether it be informal spaces or formal spaces, or maybe including the homes of some of the students and elsewhere.
And who's going to pay for all of this? Is it a free agreement or is there rentals involved here?
So those spaces, so far, I won't have to pay for them.
Okay.
Thank you, Shreya. Do we have more questions from Avanish or Sharon? No. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
All right then. We have been watching different short movies of our Kanthari graduate who has already made their dream come true. The next one comes from the very first batch of Kanthari. You know, Kanthari was started 2009. So I want to talk more about her personality. Right? Once I got a chance to meet her, she's very friendly, very charming. And what she's doing in India, in one of the remote part of India, is amazing. I don't want to say much. Let's watch it together.
My father have killed a tiger which is 12 feet. That area, there is no more animals, there is no more jungle. This is the village where I grew up. And when I was small, I dropped from the school later on because I have a problem with low vision. And my mom also, like, she cannot support me anymore. I just keep on crying all the time at home. I asked my mom, like, please send me to school, I want to study. Get a chance to go to the villages, visiting the people in the village who is having difficulties, like a person with disability in different area. Like nobody helped them. I just feel that I would just want to do something, but I don't know what to do. come across Kanthari. Kanthari is a place where I finish another area of my study where I really love that place and I really get confident and I develop my dreams. We go to the field, go for home base, teach the child according to the need. We spread the project through the CBR approach, advocacy, a mental health program, formation of DPO organization.
Adian gaji siya tombor, te long apa kin nadu kata kapur ngala sedang ban mat ya kini kijing bom sultanat cu mo kijing sobha kijing im jonga. Imis penhoi lawan chani siapa paham rio haye jonga. Naga benta ban pensyai siapang ka ACP. Ban training ngale ya ka training bekiri ha Shillong. Indrio benai ngawan pai siyeng dan ngalawan pai siyeng te ngadon ya kajing terang naga benta bangan sen ya ka bekiri te ngathaw do pun kilat kumno bangan yo ban le ya ka bekiri ha kata namarang wala ngalong gabriel ko beden tiduna ndre ngadon ya ka sen baskem ban yeng halaki jong kijan.
I have a lot of opportunity to develop myself, to understand what I really want to do. My decision is I can make a decision on my own, and I just feel that I just want the others of my friend also to grow as I grow and have an opportunity to express themselves and to learn more in the society, to be with the society.
Since 2009, we have been practicing community-based inclusive development, and we have been able to train and support more than 5,000 disabled children and youth. The work included early intervention, inclusive livelihood training, awareness programs on rights of persons with disabilities, and many more.
Okay, so far we have heard about projects about children to youth, and now we are moving on to adults.
You mean blind adults?
Oh my God, Shrishti.
What?
Aren't we supposed to say visually challenged?
Okay, you hear from the audience too, right? Come on, why people so much like visually challenged, and they don't say disabled, they say differently able. I don't get this. Just say what it is. Simple as that.
I agree, Shrishti.
And I know, what it means to be blind and what it means to come out of our comfort zone.
That is true. And our next speaker has done exactly that. She has come out of her comfort zone, and she is absolutely obsessed with, empowering other blind women in her country to come out of their comfort zone and be empowered.
Yes.
She is also from my country, so please invite Oluwakemi Odusanya from Nigeria.
It seems this blindness has become a burden to my family. Begging is the only option for me now. Hopefully, someone will marry me out of pity.
I am tired of it all. I just want to end my life.
These thoughts remind me of my childhood days. At age 13, I lost both sight to retina detachment. And just like every other person and my parent, they wanted me to see. I squeezed onion in my eyes. I bathed in the river. I drank concussions. But wait a minute, how stupid I was. Because all this I did, and the sight never came back. Like every other blind woman in Nigeria, I had just 4 thoughts. To beg, to see someone who would pitifully marry me, to get pregnant, and die. Little did I know that there is a beautiful life beyond sight.
Nigeria, blindness is associated with causes or illiteracy. Let me give you an example. When a woman is pregnant, she's told never to go near a blind person because it's assumed that the blindness is contagious, and worse when it is a female child. According to the 2022 Global Gender Gap Index, Nigeria ranks one of the worst among 146 countries in the disparity of female and male. And yeah, I remember while I was searching for a one-year National Youth Service Corps, I went into an organization. Guess what? They said, come. Why are you stressing yourself? You are blind and a woman. The role of a woman is in the kitchen. And now that you cannot see, I don't even know if you can cook. This made me furious. I was curious to know, where are my blind people? I searched day and night. I went online, made research, and guess what? I found them. Emmanuel Azuko, popularly known as Cobham, is an award-winning music producer. Victor Oteri, the Lagos Traffic Radio head of programs. David Okun works as an assistant manager at First Bank headquarter office in Nigeria. Theophilus Odaudu, a program officer at the Disability Right Fund in Nigeria. All these persons are blind and partially sighted. They are all Nigerians, and they are all men. Where are the women? I took a closer look at the associations of the blind. Maybe I would find my women. Out of 17 positions, just 2 are occupied by women. About 4 million adults are blind or partially sighted in Nigeria. Let's assume half of them are women, right? But I can't find them. Maybe data on employment can best help me out. But there is a gap in the statistics of sighted men and the women, and the disability is not even captured. Being blind myself and looking at these obstacles within the associations of the blind and the mainstream community, I take it from 2 root causes. First is the self-withdrawal by blind women. You see, most blind women easily give up because they don't have enough self-confidence to face the challenges head on. Or is it the lack of technology devices? Picture a woman who is seated in front of a computer that has screen reader and yes, confused because she doesn't know how to use it. Or the inability to travel independently. I remember my friend once told me, I can never use a white cane. It's going to compromise my beauty. If at all I need to go out, I would call my brother or tell someone on the street to help me. Unlike her, the white cane symbolizes confidence for me. Another cause or obstacle is the one created by society. You know, low expectation by employers of labor, not even wanting to give an opportunity to a blind woman. Or the urban Nigerian society, where the visual clues, appearances, party hard is much celebrated. And it becomes an obstacle for a blind woman who is trying hard to follow the speed or even adapt. Are you pondering, is there any chance for a blind or partially sighted woman in the Nigerian society? Yes, I tell you there is. Let me give you an example. While my undergraduate, I interned for 2 radio stations, both public and private. I created content for radio programs. I even had to review on-air personalities. In addition to that, I was elected into 2 different positions at the student union organization. And I traveled all the way on a 24-hour journey by road from Lagos to Zamfara. All this developed my confidence and communication skills. Noticing all these challenges, I decided to change the narrative by creating my organization called Eagle's Voice. We draw inspiration from the attributes of an eagle. You know what an eagle does? Has a fearless spirit, a tenacious hunter, and even nurturing our young ones. These are the attributes we want to see in our blind or partially sighted women in Nigeria. At Eagle's Voice, we envision an integrated society where blind and partially sighted women are skilled to actively participate in leadership positions such as the media, politics, or in the corporate world. By this, they can actively contribute to nations' development. Over the years, we would establish a journalism school with a radio station attached. And our training curriculum is guided through the life cycle of an eagle in 3 phases. The incubator phase. Like an eagle that gathers our egg, sits on it, ensures that it has enough nutrients, we would select our participants and undergo training like communication, self-confidence, critical thinking, etc. The juvenile phase is an interesting phase for us. Like the mother eagle that takes her eaglets and throws her off the cliff, guiding her through the process. We will ensure that our participants undergo practical activities like the mobility skills, making researches, writing reports, etc. And the 3rd phase, maturity. An eagle goes out of a nest and shows to a mother that he is confident, capable to face challenges. Our participants will be paired with mentors, organizations, to ensure that what has been taught so far is being put into learning. Enough is enough. Neither blindness nor gender can stop us.
Hi, I aspire to be the first blind female Minister of Education in Nigeria.
I aspire to be the CEO of Missy Record Group. Woo-wee.
I aspire to be the head of program IMA Telecommunication.
These are the voices of our eagles. They are ready to come out of their pigeonholes and fly to lead the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cami.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's have the first question from our online panel, Shreya.
Hi, and congratulations on starting such a powerful and useful initiative. My question to you is that often when we see people with disabilities applying for jobs, they are faced with a lot of reluctance from the employer's side, even though they are fully equipped to perform really well in those jobs. So what are your plans in that department where employers and organizations are more open to hiring blind people? And because once they hire them, they don't have any problems with them. They're fine with their work ethics and they're fine with their performances. It's just in the beginning, they don't want to invest in the training and they have certain blockage in their head that the blind people will not perform as well. So what is your plan in that department?
Yes, in that department, in my context, Nigeria, right, it's not built under the foundation that disability is regularly spoken of, and it's very difficult. So we would have a training, a one-on-one section for the employers of labor and both the government as well to ensure that they are fully equipped with the knowledge of disability, because it's not going to be very applaudable for us if at the end they pitifully employ this blind persons and at that they can't even perform. So we'd have a training for them to make them understand what blindness is, make them understand the needs or the assistive device that would ensure a proper execution of tasks given to each employee. So we'll definitely have a training for the employers and everyone associated with that faculty.
Do you already have any association with certain organizations who are more open and who have maybe asked you that, okay, we will be hiring from your initiative and we will be open to getting more people from your organization?
Yes, that's why Eagle's Voice is birthed, to ensure that every needs of both the employers, the society, or even the blind women is captured. So with our pilot project and every other underground works, we will definitely meet the needs of the employers.
All right, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Can we have the next question from Sharon, please?
Hey, that was a nice speech.
Thank you.
So, Nigeria, a country known for its notorious suicides.
Yeah.
And I see that here your program does not include or mention anything about mental or emotional wellness or life skills. So, how do you plan to create mentally and emotionally healthy and strong women?
Okay, so in that process, if you recall our phases, that has to do with the juvenile phase and the start of the incubator phase. This is where we attend to all this. Because you see, blindness is either it's either congenital, that's from birth, or becoming blind at a later stage in life. So through this process, we get to understand the need of our participant first. Either they are persons who are born blind, or persons who become blind at a later stage. And when we find out their needs or the gap, we then pair them. We have a training like a therapy to lift them out of their pigeonholes, because there are people that have not even perhaps undergone challenges, or even those that have undergone challenges, they would have a lot of things hidden, which has to do with mental, psychological stuffs. So we'd have a professional that will handle that part for them.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, thank you.
Over to you, Avanish.
Thank you. Kami, it was very inspired.
Thank you.
So, the women you're going to intake in your journalism school,
yes.
What is the age group that you have in mind, and what is the basic qualification that you expect of them?
The age group is 20 years and above, and the basic criteria for us is for them to have the ability to want to learn, the ability to accept their blindness. So if they have that, they might not necessarily need to have known how to, use the white cane, move around confidently, because that's also one of the things we'll be teaching them. So the major criteria is to be 20 years and above, be blind or partially sighted, and also have the ability to want to learn and unlearn.
Okay. In the beginning, when you mentioned that the condition of most blind women in Nigeria is either like, I don't want to go alone, I'll call somebody to move around,
yes.
And it's either suicide or eventual death, or marry someone who would marry me out of pity and be pregnant. If this is the current situation, how would you find eligible candidates to attend your school?
Okay, so I have a good working relationship with associations and network of the blind. I have identified few persons that I'm going to work with as a pioneer project. And those thoughts are actually real, right? And like I said, we have different sections for them. Those that do not have like a suicidal thought, and those that perhaps have like an intense kind of thought. So we have ways to undo both parties.
Okay, a couple more questions.
Yes.
One is, if you're taking totally raw women from the society who have that spirit in them to move forward in life, do you think 6 months are enough to train them to become professionals?
Okay, so for the pilot project, yes, it is. You see, Nigeria is a society where you have to show, you don't tell them. You have to be visual, making them to understand what it is, especially where blindness or disability is yet to be embraced. So for now, 6-month project is not too bad for a startup. By that, we can then use it as, we can then use it as a thought to the employers or the society to see that there are abilities in a blind woman.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cami. Thank you. Okay, that was a powerful first session of the day.
Yes.
We will now be taking a short break. In this break, we have you're free to get refreshed, interact with each other, and we've also served some tea and snacks down the slope downstairs. All right, so please be back in the auditorium at 11:30 a.m. sharp. Okay, thank you.
5 minutes before. That's enough. Okay. See you then.
Refreshing break. It is now time for us to start the last session for this year, Kanthari Talks 2022. Let's begin by introducing our panelists. Offline, we welcome you back, Avanish and Sharon.
Welcome.
Online, on the panel, we have Kevin Odera. Kevin Odera from Kenya, he is the founder of Wawa Kenya, an organization that works closely with women who are situated on the margin areas of Lake Victoria by training them in various areas for both financial and general inclusivity. Kevin is a passionate skills development trainer. Welcome, Kevin.
Kevin.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. Not a man of many words, you see. All right. Next on the panel, we have Smita Sharma. She is an independent multimedia journalist with nearly 2 decades of experience. She has worked in a range of roles with leading Indian rooms such as DD News, CNN IBN, India Today, TV9, as well as internationally for TRT World, DW News, just to name a few. Her articles and analysis have been published in leading publications including the Hindustan Times, the Hindu, Huffington Post, The Wire, and many more.
Welcome you, Smita.
She's also back for day 2. Next on the panel, we have Tay Francis. Tay Francis is from Cameroon and a 2016 Kanthari graduate. He is the founder of Enkindle Cameroon. Enkindle Cameroon guides underprivileged women to a level of independence in financial decisions. Women break free from generational cycles of poverty and are empowered to fully participate in the education of their children. Welcome, Tay.
Welcome, Tay Francis.
Okay, let us now get ready for the final session.
Sure.
Okay. Shushti, I'm so excited. The room is excited. You don't look too excited.
Oh, yeah. No, I just got a little bit emotional.
Oh no, what did I do?
This time at least it's not you.
Thank God. Thank goodness.
All the time it's you. But this time, not you. You know, suddenly, I remembered my grandmother.
Aww.
My mom is always a working mom, and she used to always leave me with her, and she used to go to office. Though I didn't get chance to spend much time with her, but the memories, you know, I had a beautiful bond with her. What about you, Nora?
That is so sweet, Shrishti.
Yeah.
My grandmother, oh, she's an extremely strong woman, and she had the entire family under her control.
Wow.
But I was her favorite.
Oh.
Yeah.
But often these elder people are forgotten and ignored. Don't you think so?
That is the reality, sadly.
Yeah.
Our next speaker is going to shed more light on this. Please welcome Elsword Okeyo from Kenya.
This is how old people are treated in my country, Kenya. Is it a crime to grow old? Is it okay for them to face loneliness, isolation, or even worse, witchcraft accusations? I was born and raised in the village. Life was full of fun and meaning. I enjoyed living with my grandmother. And I remember each morning we went to the farm together, harvested our cassavas and tomatoes, and placed them in the bucket. Later on, we could go to the market, and after selling all our produce, we could go back to our tiny huts, open the door, and count the few coins that we got for the day. We had a lot of visitors. The neighbors' children were always coming to our place because my grandmother was so kind and loving to everybody. I remember one day I went to school and the teacher asked about our role model. So all the students shouted about their favorite actors and singers like Rihanna. But when it was my turn, I said, my grandmother. And the whole class went silent. I turned back, and they were all making faces. Even the teacher did not believe me. I felt so embarrassed. That day, I went home feeling lonely. And I told my grandmother everything that had happened. And I also told her that I didn't want to go to school anymore. And you know what she did? She gave me a hug, went to the kitchen, and prepared my best meal, ugali and tilapia fish. And while we were enjoying our meal, she told me the story of Esther. Esther was among the first black women who graduated in the university, despite the challenges that she went through. And she also reminded me that it was very okay to be different from others. I witnessed the old woman grow old, and as days went by, she was losing her energy. And it got to a point that we could not do the things that we loved doing, like going to the farm together or even to the market. And then she started complaining of headache and then backache. And soon she could not hear or even see. She used to take care of me, but now I had to take care of her. Our roles had changed, and it was my turn. And there was this day that I woke up in the morning. I touched her body. She was cold, and she was struggling to breathe. So I ran to my neighbors to ask for help. But do you know what they did? They sent me away and asked me what I had to do with a good-for-nothing old woman, and even accused her of being a witch. These were the same people who were coming to our home to eat with us. But now, they'd suddenly forgotten about it and turned their backs against us. People forget so fast. The Kenyan community has always been known to take care of the old people. In fact, in most of the families, the old people were always the decision makers. Unfortunately, a lot of things are changing. The old people are now being accused of any misfortune that takes place in the society. And even worse, the young people are now moving to the big cities to look for employment. And what does this mean? The old people are left in the villages. They are facing loneliness and even abuse. And recently, the Kenyan statistics indicate that we have over 2.7 million old people, out of which 80% are vulnerable to poverty, and majority goes to bed on empty stomach. And we have at least 100 old people who are killed annually based on witchcraft accusations. But remember, this is not only happening in Kenya, but even in other parts of Africa, like Ghana, where the old people, once accused of being a witch, they are sent out of the community and they have to live all by themselves. Is this what we want to see in our society? And do you know what's happening in Japan? In as much as we thought Japan was the best place to age, but things have totally changed. The old people in Japan are now resolving to crime. They want to go to prison. And why is this? Because once in the prison, they're sure of 3 meals a day, and at least to find somebody who can smile with them. Kenya has recorded among the worst cases when it comes to killing of the old people. And just in 2021, we had a case where a 19-year-old boy chopped the head of the grandmother, placed it inside a bucket, and took it to the police station. And why was this? Because the old woman ate his food. And not forgetting the 4 old women who were launched and burnt to death on a broad daylight while everybody was watching. The old people are facing a lot of injustice, but all we talk about is child's education, women empowerment, youth employment. Do we ever think that old people also exist in our society? Maybe we forgot. But the last time I checked, Cornelia proved that for sure they're very important. And this question kept coming in my mind. I wanted to understand what it meant to grow old. And that's why I visited many old age homes. I volunteered and visited the old people in their own homes. I even did a counseling course just to ensure that I was there for them. But then I felt this was not enough. That's why I wanted to do something to create a space where they could feel involved and feel safe. So I founded Rieko. Rieko is a word from my local dialect meaning wisdom. And why wisdom? The old people are always known to have a lot of knowledge and wisdom that they've acquired over a long period of time. And that is what we want to embrace. So how are we going to do this? We will implement the village model. The village model is where we bring the young people, the old people, and the children together. Then they identify activities that they all like and do them as one people. And for this, we'll do it in 4 stages. The first stage, Kwanza. We all know the 4 stages of life. So we will start by identifying the old people, the young people, and the children who have interest in making a change in the society. Then we get to know some of the challenges, the experience, and the skills they have. And during this stage, we'll make a code of conduct that stipulates what we do that does not go against any person's right. And stage number 2 is kusoma. We all learn in life, and learning is a continuous process. So at this point, for instance, those who like cooking, those who like dancing, those who like molding, they all come together and form a family. And then we provide them with materials. For example, those who like singing, they get the musical instruments. Those who like gardening can go to the farm. And the third stage, kutenda. Kutenda is the action stage where now they do the actual things. If you like gardening, you can go to the garden and dig and produce your vegetables. If you like singing, you can record your stories, your song, and share it with the whole society. And the last very important stage is Rieko. We are going back to wisdom. Once we've acquired all the skills, all the knowledge, and all the experience, then we can now go out of the society and share the love, share the wisdom with everybody. And for this, we'll have 3 main houses. So when you visit Rieko, the first house will be the cafeteria, where we'll be preparing traditional delicacies and enjoying it with the members of the society. And just next to it will be our self-learning center, where we'll be exchanging ideas, knowledge, and skills. And we'll have our garden. At the garden, we'll be producing vegetables that will be used at our cafeteria. And just to my left will be our community house. If you feel tired, you want to tell stories, or you just want a space for yourself, you can have your time. And of course, we'll have our kitchen. Would you like to see our envisioned Rieko? Let's have a look. At Rieko, we will be promoting intergenerational care and will be learning how to embrace different stages of life. And so next time you see an old person facing injustice, being abused, or neglected somewhere, remember to stand up for them. For all the old people we see were once our age. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elsword. Let's have the first question from Avanish, please.
Hi, Elsword.
Hello.
It was very interesting.
Thank you.
The issues of elderly are among my interests as well. But personally, I do not believe that age and wisdom has anything to do with each other. But it's my personal opinion, it doesn't matter here. So, see, one problem which I see that happens when I am trying to make somebody else's life better is that it's always what I think is better for them. So have you done or have you asked people, elderly people, as to what they really want? Because one thing I have understood is it's the lack of financial independence and boredom, which are at the core of almost all elderly issues. So have you really asked them what they want and then designed your project?
Oh, sure. Thank you. So before I came to Kanthari, I was volunteering, and I've been working with aged persons at personal level in my community. And as we are talking, I have 14 beneficiaries who I've been working with closely, and I got to understand some of the challenges they are going through and what they really feel like they want to be done for. So that's why when I talked to them, they were saying the young people have spaces they can meet, the children have people they can talk to, but we old people, we are often neglected and nobody cares about us. So I felt that was the best approach, creating a space where they can meet together and talk even with other people. Yeah.
Okay. So the elderly meeting the youth sounds like a very utopian, dreamy plan. And you know, as years are passing by, technology is bursting so much that we are bombarded with entertainment that we really don't need friends at the moment. Our phone is our best friend. So it's even more of a challenge to bring the youth to be with elderly. So even though you've mentioned as to why the youth would come, do you really think it's easy?
I don't think it's easy, but I believe like if we put effort, then it can be done. That's why I came up with a self-learning system where the youth like where there is internet, they like where they can access the computers and they can have their phones. The old people do not know how to use the computers or the phones. So if we can create a space where the youth can use their phones and can also train the old people how to use a phone or even a laptop, then that's one way of attracting them to the space. And by the end of the day, they will not only learn from the old people, but they'll also get other skills that will also help them in their lives.
One more question. So you said that they are accused of witchcraft and such things. Do you think that among the elderly community of your country or the neighboring countries, there is a superstitious tendency among them which creates a sense of suspicion? So do you think that you should train them or give them a sensitization regarding their superstitions so that they also move ahead with age in their belief?
Sure, I would say that the old people also have their beliefs because they were brought up in a different generation. But then if we can make them understand that in as much as this is what they believed in, if they have a different change, then the young people can also embrace, because out of what they believe is what is also attracting the young people to believe the same. So it means that the change must start from them, and then after that, the youth can easily embrace it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avanish. Can we have the next question from Sharon?
Sure. So imagine there are two old women sitting next to each other. One is rich and healthy. The other one is poor and financially in a bad position. If a young person walks by, would both these women be called a witch, or is the financially sound, healthy-looking women be, spared this witch label?
Okay, so I wish to state that I thought like witchcraft was only presumed to be in Africa, but out of the research, I realized that even in other countries like Europe, people believe in it. But then in Africa, it's mostly stipulated to poverty. That's why I brought in the aspect of other countries like Japan, which the old people are, in as much as they are not suffering from the accusation of witchcraft, but they are suffering from loneliness. So by the end of the day, they go one in one.
So which takes me to my next question is, so if the government ensures that there is a policy, which right now is in Kerala, where old women, old citizens, senior citizens are provided enough pension and support so that they are financially well off, and there are government plans to take care of their physical and mental health. Would that suffice the problem that you are trying to solve at present?
I don't think so, because just by providing them with financial support does not do away with what people think. So if we can start by transforming people's minds, and then when that financial support comes in, it becomes an added advantage. And that's what we are going to do at Trieko. We'll start by transforming people's mind so that they learn to accept, because when you accept somebody, even if they are very limited resources, then you are easily able to share it with one another. So the resource doesn't become a big factor.
So how many beneficiaries are you planning to reach within probably say 2 years?
In 2 years, I'm planning to at least have 50 beneficiaries, the old people, and of course I'll be having the old people, the young people, and the children. So the old people, it will depend on their condition, because there are some that I cannot handle unless by that time I shall have advanced and will be able to do so. Yeah.
And do you have any plans to work on an advocacy level regarding the policies which can have a huge impact on the number of people who are receiving benefits? Do you have any such plans for the future?
Yeah, sure. I will be also working on advocacy, but then just I did mention the old people. It will be best if they are also on the forefront, so that everybody understands that in as much as they are old, it doesn't prevent them from knowing what is right and what is expected of them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Moving on to our online panelists, let's have a question from Kevin.
Thank you very much, Eltru. That was a very nice presentation, and I truly believe like the concept is wow. Bringing young people and the old people together, it's a good idea, because I remember way back the old people used to be source of storytelling, source of happiness to young people. And I don't know where the rain started beating us, because it is no longer there. I don't know how the community nowadays see this old people. However, bringing people with diverse group, young people, older people together, it's like you are starting a source of conflict, because here you see like 3 old people just like sharing as 2 old women seated somewhere comfortably, maybe they're chatting or they're doing their things, and then this young person pass by, and then they mock these old people. Sometimes you find like one of them is even trying to mimic or to copy like the walking style of the old people, bending with the walking style. This is a source of conflict that they then even raise their blood pressure, because you are dealing with the very vulnerable people. How are you ready to handle the conflict that is going to come?
Okay, thank you. So I believe conflict is part of life, and of course it will come, because as long as you have diverse group, big number of people, then you're prone to face conflict. And we will really appreciate this, because through this we'll be learning how to manage conflict, and we'll also be embracing the traditional ways in which we used to handle conflict, which will include talking to one another and negotiating. So by the end of the day, the youth will also embrace different things that maybe they thought were not important. So in as much as we'll have conflict, it will also be to our advantage to learn more about one another.
Thank you very much for the response. Just a simple follow-up of the same. Just draw for me like a picture, a to-do list of an old person in your center, like in the morning till the evening.
Okay, so an old person in my center, as we start, we might not be having them to stay. That is for maybe the first year or 2, and then after that they'll be staying. So for example, if they are not staying, then they'll just be coming around 10, and then we have a tea break or porridge break, And then we can go to the garden, we do some activities, or we can have storytelling sessions, or what they like. If they want to bake, they can do baking. And then at lunchtime, we'll have a meal. And after that, we have different activities. So we'll be preparing an info bite based on what they like. And then once they are grouped, for example, if they say in the morning we want to do cooking, in the afternoon maybe we want to go and do storytelling, and then in the midday we want to do a different thing. So by the end of the day, it will depend on their info bite and their interest.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Your Q&A session ends over here. Thank you, Eltrude.
Okay, now, as we know that we watch short movies of our Kanthari graduate, the next we'll be watching of Steve from Kenya. He runs a primary school, especially for the vulnerable children around his community, especially for the HIV orphans or semi-orphans. I think let's watch it together, some glimpse of his work.
My name is Steve Onyang. I'm from Kenya. We live near the Great Lake Victoria, a very beautiful lake, and surrounding it are very many hills and very many valleys. The atmosphere is very good. The latest government statistics says that where I stay, out of every 5 people you meet, one of them is HIV positive. The children are so many who have been left as total orphans. The parents died. And once that happens to children, they will never be the same. I had an elder brother, the eldest, the firstborn in our family. This brother of mine fell down sick with HIV and AIDS. The first to die was his son. Then the wife died, and then the brother himself died, leaving us with the 2 girls. So whenever I saw the other orphans elsewhere, it was ever reminding me of how my brother died and how we suffered because of that. This was the beginning of Hope Restoration Center. And in 2011, we registered it as a community-based organization. We take the children through transformational activities. First of all, make them relax completely. To kill that kind of self-internalized stigma in them, make them feel as if we are on the same level ground. Some of the activities that we do are personal storytelling. These children tell us their own stories. When they tell us these stories, we get carried away at times. And it might not be easy for them also to tell these stories, because you might see them, some of them, almost shedding tears. But we encourage them on in front of their peers. It is a transformational change in the child, and it's a transformational change to the society or the guardians of these children. You see them becoming more proactive in what they want to do, and more so they become self-confident.
I'm Rosemary Akinyi. I'm a social worker in Hope Restoration Center. The children, most of them didn't see their mothers. I always tell them I'm your mom. Whenever you have problems you bring, I solve. So they feel good.
We make them feel that somebody is giving them love and attention, which has been lacking for a long time. We started our school in the year 2011, and 10 years later, we have 284 students and a team of 19 highly self-motivated people running the school. Next year, we'll add one more class, and then we have all primary classes failed.
That was beautiful.
All right then. Nora.
Yes?
What comes to your mind when you hear art?
When I hear art, that's easy. I think about music, I think about film, I think about dance, colorful portraits, basically leisure time activities.
But then what about when art is used as a catalyst for a social change, just like me?
Do you mean a purple kanthari?
Yes, purple kanthari, just like me.
Ooh, I have an example. I have an example of one from this year. Let's invite him on stage. Claude Aza from Cameroon.
Za 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 Sherina. Za 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 Sherina. Za 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 Sherina. Za 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 Sherina. One day, when I was between the ages 10 and 12, a senior cousin of mine told me to accompany him for a walk. After walking for a while, I realized we're in the middle of a forest. All I could see around was this block house. Some men, armed with rifles, patrolled the area. Some women and youths seated on the ground inside this house. Turning around, my cousin was nowhere to be found. I became scared and agitated. One man approached me and ushered me to sit on the ground inside this block house. I cried, but there was nothing I could do. 3 days later, I woke up from a very deep sleep. I felt tired, weak, and my legs too heavy for my head to carry. Then I complained to one man who said, "Boy, be strong and stop to worry." It was later, that evening, I realized that the tea I drank last night was a mixture of boiled marijuana leaves and other herbs. That was the first time I was abused with hard drug. Suddenly, I heard the sound of a bell. We're all lined up behind this house. Then one man, an unfamiliar face with a grown mustache, moved forward and announced that as from this day hence, our mission would be to look and talk. Again, he tuned the song I just sang, and we marched in different directions into the wood. It was later that I understood what he meant by look and talk. Hence, I was used as a spy. According to the United Nations Office of Drug and Crimes, 60% of Cameroonian youths between the ages 15 to 25 have been users of imported drugs like cocaine, heroin, and amphetamine-type tablets from neighboring countries like Nigeria and Ivory Coast. 12,000 youths below the age 12 are users of narcotic drugs and other psychoactive substances. Drug use associated with child soldiers has been a predominant malaise in most warring African countries. Take the cases of Sudan, Sierra Leone, Liberia, the Democratic Republic of Congo in the early 90s. As we speak, the present political instability in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon that has led to the burning down of schools and villages have deprived over 800,000 youth from formal education. This situation has led to the rise of youth involvement in substance use and abuse. Despite the effort being made by the Cameroon government and other non-governmental organizations to tackle the issue of substance use and abuse among youths, the situation is very much alarming. Against this background, my organization, CADA, Collective Arts Development Association, whose mission is to use art, that is visual art, handicraft, audiovisual art, to transform the mindsets of ex-child soldiers, convicts, and drug addicts for their social, mental, psychological, and economic development, has come up with a solution. And our philosophy is titled Out of the Box. Talking about our philosophy, our beneficiaries are considered as residents in this box. They are depressed, they are stigmatized, they are frustrated, and really have no future in front of them. All they do have as tools, as a solution to their problem, is reflections. Their hands, their voices, and a small nail found in this box. Now, they begin by knocking on the wall from the inside of the box. They proceed to use the small nail to create a hole through which they can peep out to see the blue sky, discovering their limitations and the opportunities from the outside world. This hole is expanded to a window. Then they are able to wave, to call, to shout, to sing, and to plead for help from the community. This process evidently draws empathy and solidarity from the community, from the outside world, and a door is created. Our beneficiaries are out. You may wonder why I use this box for my speech demonstration. 6 years ago, the box you see on the screen was my art workshop and my head office. This box served as a contact point between us, our beneficiaries, and the community.
Hello, is this Kada?
Yes.
I'm John. I got your number from a box by the roadside. I am a school dropout and I'm really struggling with alcohol. Please, can I come to Kada for help?
Oh, sure, of course. You're most welcome to be a part of us. Moreover, our organization, Kada, is for youths like you. But you must be ready to exchange tobacco, marijuana, for a painting brush, and a glass of wine, alcohol, hard gin for colors. Thank you.
Thank you, Claude. Let's start your Q&A session from the online panel. Can we have a question from Smita, please?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good to be back here again. Claude, congratulations on the presentation that you just made. I thought there was emotion, there was compassion, and there was creativity like a purple kanthari, true to the spirit.
Thank you.
But, and you know, the figures that you've put out in your brief obviously are very disturbing. There are just two quick questions that I want to, because one, what you're doing with the center, you're using visual arts and therapy. It is an important therapeutic tool. But at the end of the day, when you talk about drug addiction, it does need an anti-drug medicine rehabilitation and therapy. It does need professional psychiatric counseling. Then there are so many cases of relapse. You know, people do a anti-drug addiction therapy for 6 months, a break of 6 months, and then there is a relapse again. So are you going to address these aspects as well in your center, or your center is only going to focus on the visual art therapy part of it?
Thank you very much for your question. At a certain point, we connect our beneficiaries to mental health experts for mental counseling and for psychological development. Now, they also provide rehabilitation and reintegration services to our beneficiaries. We do that through hired experts. It's part of our activity.
And do you have any estimation of the budget that you're looking for? I couldn't find it in your sheet. Of, you know, what is going to be the financial cost of running this center, say for 6 months, a year? Any estimation right now?
For 6 months, my total budget is $12,000. My annual budget, when I started in 2016, and henceforth to this point, we have been doing our activities, and I usually buy most of my art equipment for an annual basis, on a yearly basis. That's how I buy my art equipment. Talking about canvas, brushes, computers, and the rest. So, for now, we'll be needing, our beneficiaries are increasing by day because the present situation is still very, very much alarming, and I have more beneficiaries. When I return back to Cameroon, I will subsequently need more equipment for the more beneficiaries that I will certainly have.
Okay, thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you.
Can we have the next question from Tay Francis, please? Is Tay with us? All right, we can move on. Can we hear from Avanish?
Hi, Claude.
Hi.
It's a very interesting and creative project.
Thank
so
you.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So my question is, you've mentioned...
Claude, the mission of CADA is very laudable.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Avanish, you can...
Can we hear?
What? Can you ask him to... Tay, can you hear me? All right, maybe... All right, Avanish, you can continue.
Yeah, so Claude, you've mentioned that you would use, performing arts, audiovisual art and handicrafts as self-sustainable alternative to substance use and drug addiction.
Sure.
Do you think that the youth go into substance use or abuse because they lack some creative activities in their life? Is it that easy a replacement? Because as you said, in your case, it was forced. It was forcefully done. Yeah. So do you think that it's easy it's easy, like you say, that substance abuse can be replaced by sustainable art explorations?
When I started in 2016, I went over this question you're asking me, and I came over the question, and when I started launching my campaign, looking for beneficiaries, I thought it was difficult for me to transform the minds of these children or for these youths to get into arts or to use arts as a sustainable preventive measure for drug use. But along the line, I realized they were very, very interested. So after the training, most of them go out there, they talk to other friends who are mostly involved into substance use and abuse, and through them, I had more beneficiaries, and I realized more youths were interested in life skills and skill education as a self-sustainable preventive measure for drug use and abuse. Moreover, being a victim, art, I bet you, was my preventive measure. So I decided to extend what I go through, what I went through with other youths, and thank God it has been welcome in my community.
Okay. Is Stay back with us? No. Sharon, over to you.
Hi.
Hello.
So imagine that your next call is from me.
Sure.
And tring, pick up your call.
Hello?
Yeah, hi. Is this Kara?
Sure, it's Kara.
So please help me. I'm suffering from substance abuse issues. Please do something.
Wow. You're very, very most welcome. I'm very, very happy you be a part of my team and part of our beneficiary. And I want you to know that this organization is for youth like you. And
But sir, I heard that you're only giving paint and brush, but I'm not interested in arts. So what will I do if I come there?
Moreover, not all of our beneficiaries are into painting, into performing, and into audiovisual arts and production. After your life skills training, you decide what you really want to do. Our purpose is to make your life more meaningful. That's the main goal of our organization. But fortunately, and I'm an artist, so I'm using skill education, art education, to get youth out of it. But if you like something different, you talk to us, and then we will connect you with experts in your domain.
Okay, thank you, sir. Which takes me to my question is, your target beneficiary age group is 15 to 25.
12 to 25.
12 to 25.
Yeah.
When all the hormone changes are happening, when there's a surge in hormonal activity and you go for substance abuse. So don't you think that, introducing them to sports, which would actually release natural endorphins and make them happy, would be of added help in the first phase, and then probably induct them into arts? Why did you take this art approach? Of course, you like art, and that could be one reason. But all the science, all the studies show that sports has proven to be a better means to bring children out of, especially these teenagers with raging hormonal issues, to bring them out of substance abuse. So that's why I called, and most of the people that we see here, youngsters, especially young men in our community, they would rather prefer sports than arts. And there is another talk that, here, if you are an artist, you take marijuana, cannabis and all for added creativity. So rather than, trying to bring them out of drugs by introducing them to arts, would you not be promoting arts by, bringing all the creative drug-addicted youngsters to this program?
Thank you very much for your question. As part of our curriculum, recreational activities are also part of our curriculum. That is sports, like indoor sports, like outdoor sports, like football and the rest. Talking about the illusion, that's just an illusion, and that's just a mindset that artists, they get drunk, they get high before they do their work. I used to believe so at first, when I was a victim, when I was victimized. I used to believe so. I used to do marijuana, cocaine, and I go for my work. But of late, I realized drug and without drug, still I can do something good.
Thank you, Claude.
Thank you.
when we see the rainbow flag, it's a flag that gives us hope. It's a flag that makes us smile and makes us dream of a better tomorrow. And this is a symbol of the LGBT community. And so in Purple Hand Africa, we're going to employ the rainbow journey of empowerment, whereby we're going to come together as the LGBT community to express our challenges, our strife, as well as our hope for the future through music, through poetry, and through creative writing. And once they have a healthy well-being, then they can be strong to go through the rest of the rainbow journey of empowerment.
Ndakapla kukhulisa aspect lokho ukuthi ndrimshanzimeni anogara muno muzimbabwe ende ndosangana nematambudziko akawandisa ekuti ndichifamba kutukwa nevanhu kushoro saka chinhu chikazi zvinondikonzeresa kuti ndinenge ndaukanganisika mufungo mangu kufungisa zvakanyanyisisa saka pandavana mukana wekuaplya for community workshop pandakaona application yacho ndakati this is it ndo mukana kuti ndombodzidziswawo on how to deal with stress and on how to deal with depression and the likes, and also on how to deal with the society. Discrimination
Okay, the reason as to why I applied for the community art workshop was because during the applications I realized that the strategy that they used to do their workshops was actually different from the ones that we use in other workshops.
So it was interesting because now you have to self-introspect about yourself, how you see yourself versus how the world sees you, and how you would picture that holistically. So as a counselor, I then come in all this time with them throughout, where I get to provide group counseling therapy sessions. In that process and all during that week, then I'm able to observe the process as well as the content. This also makes the participants quite relaxed and open enough to be able to share their traumatic experiences. And I like this collaborative approach with Purple Hand because we then get to sit down and debrief on the outcomes of the group therapy sessions that we would have conducted.
Yeah, so that was Trevor from 2018 Kanthari batch. He's doing great job. And, I'm quite excited, even more excited.
Why?
Because, hello, not because the mic went off.
Did it go off?
Hello. Yes, it did. Okay, it's back, yeah?
You can be excited again.
Yeah, I can be excited now because the mic came back.
Yay.
So, because the next speaker is from my own home country, Nepal.
Wow.
He is young, healthy, and cheerful.
As long as we are young and happy and strong, right?
Yes, nothing can stop us.
But what if we are old and alone, or even disowned by our own family?
Yes, so our next speaker is exactly going to address this issue.
Yeah.
So ladies, gentlemen, and others, let's put our hands together for Bibek Magar from
Nepal.
Do you remember the first time you fell in love? Oh, you have a butterflies in your stomach. You have a constant desire to talk with your loved one, be with your loved one. You're excited and happy. You keep thinking them of throughout the day. But when I fell in love for the first time, the feelings were different. I was confused, afraid, and stressed. It was very strange feeling. I was attracted with same gender. I fell in love with another boy. These feelings was unusual for me. Back then, I did not know anyone who fell in love with the same gender. I pray to God every day to make me normal. But little did I know, hello, I was normal. I had a very understanding and open-minded family. Unlike the usual family in Nepal, my parents didn't force boys to be boys or girls to be girls. I was carefree, happy child playing with the dolls like my girlfriend, dancing like Bollywood heroine Madhuri Dixit while waving my mother colorful scarf. At the age of 10, my father was killed during a civil war. My mother left to Kathmandu for her safety as she was constantly threatened to be killed. So, my sister and I stayed back with our great-grandparents. Life was good when I was home. Things changed when I started stepping out of my house. Every day, I had to listen derogatory words from the macho boy that hung around in my locality. They used to call me Chakka, Hijada. Even further, they asked me, केटा हो कि केटी हो? तिम्रो दुईटा खुट्टाको बीचमा के छ? It means, are you a boy, a girl? What you have in between your two legs? I felt bad, even angry. And it wasn't just them. Even strangers would call me names, judging based on my feminine style of walking and talking. To escape from all this, I decided to come to Kathmandu for higher study. After a few months, I had a friend who had a partner. I saw them flirting and being romantic with each other. And I wish I had a partner too. But I was just only getting attracted with the boys. I could not express this among my friends. So, I started exploring dating apps. And that is the moment when I met Chandra. He was the first gay man I had ever met in the 18 years of my life. We started hanging around. He was charming and humorous, even though we did not fall in love. He made me realize I'm not alone. Even further, he introduced me to other LGBTIQ community in Nepal. We started share the challenge, the struggle that we go through. Nepal has very progressive constitution for the LGBTIQ community. But wait, in reality or in daily life, we still face lots of discrimination. We still struggle to obtain citizenship, passport, and other basic human rights. We're forced to be happy with the basic human rights that many years of constitution have given us. And all these things negatively affect on LGBTIQ mental health. The mental health experts are not equipped to cater need of our community. Once, I went for psychosocial counseling. I was judged based on my gender expression. Counselors were staring at me, giggling and laughing. They couldn't even have related what I was going through. That made me so uncomfortable. When it comes to the elder, their situation even worse. Back in the days, when the patriarchal society was even stronger, many ended up in marriage of convenience. Society at large and their parents forced them to get married to the gender they didn't attract. And most of them still stuck on those marriages, which is caused strain of their mental health. And the sad part, even within the LGBTIQ community, the elder people have been experiencing stigma and discrimination. Once, I attended beauty pageant, which is especially for the trans and third gender community. I still remember there was a young attendee who made fun of elder people's appearance, body image, even they were age-shamed. It was very painful to watch that. I was heartbroken when I came to know 5 elderly LGBTIQ community has died by suicide during a pandemic in Kathmandu. Then I decided I had to do something about it. Elder people have been always close to my heart as they remind me my very beautiful, wonderful day I spent with my great-grandparents. All these things inspire me to start Queer Nepal. Queer Nepal aims to create mentally healthy environment to the LGBTIQ community who are middle to elder age by providing accessible and specific mental health service. One of our main intervention is toll-free number for counseling. Make it simple for our beneficiary to contact and share their concern. And the most important thing is that toll-free numbers serve as our starting point for our beneficiary to offer them our other initiative. The first, in-person counseling. We provide individual, group, couple, family counseling. 2, empowerment workshop for our beneficiary to make mentally strong and confident. 3, short and long-term safe space to those who are in a highly vulnerable position. 4, we also provide scholarship for the vocational training and 6-month psychosocial counseling course. 5, to breaking all the stereotypes surrounding LGBTIQ mental health, we are raise awareness by making short movie, documentaries, and other visibility workshops. Through our initiative, we want to empower and give them visibility to middle to elder age LGBTIQ community. Nowadays, we are constantly posting pictures of almost everything on social media. But have you ever seen pictures of middle to elder age people showing love and affection to each other? Maybe, yes or no? What about middle to elder age people who are from LGBTIQ plus community? Do you think they don't exist? Have you ever wondered where they are? They are among us. They are around us. Let's make them visible. Love is love, whether you are young or old, whether towards same or the different gender. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bibek. Let us start your Q&A with a question from Sharon, please.
Hi.
Hi, Bibek.
Yes.
So I see that your target group is those who are 40 above.
Yes, yes.
And LGBTQ, same, and this has been legal since 2007, right? In Nepal.
Homosexuality legalized in Nepal, yeah, 2007, yes.
2007.
Yes.
So if you're a youngster who has come out now as a gay or a lesbian person is one thing versus you are a 35-year-old person who has been living a normal life because it has been illegal, and then suddenly law recognizes homosexuality and you just have to come out and tell who you are as a person. Those are two different things, right? You get to identify yourself as a homosexual person and coming out and living an open life versus because it's illegal, you get to play or live a double life, and then all of a sudden law allows you, and then you come out. So how, because your target group is those above 40, your most of the people who are going to come to your organization would be those people who identified themselves as homosexual when it was illegal, right? So how do you plan to handle the coming out part of them when they're living, if they might be married or they might be going through other issues? How do you plan to handle those issues?
Thank you. Thank you for raising this question, because even Nepal has legalized homosexuality in 2007. Still, community people are not coming out. You know, there is no environment to come out. So, so as an activist, I can't say anybody to come out, but at least I can give the space where they can come and share their issue and their inner feelings. I can't force to anybody to come. Whenever you feel to come out, whenever you feel too comfortable to come out, they can come out. They can come out. But as an activist, as a member of the queer community, I can give the space or the service that they can take. So
so they come out and they say, okay, I am a homosexual person, but because I was forced by the society to get married, are you capable, or your organization is capable to provide the social support that has to sustain this, whatever, ending the marriage and recognizing all those things? Do you have an ecosystem of support where this marriage can be diluted and the spouse can be taken care of and both of them can be educated and this person can be brought in? Such an environmental partner or ecosystem partner is there for you?
Okay. I think right now my organization is providing, especially working for the mental health, right? And also we're providing the safe space, and I also mentioned about the counseling, the family counseling, couple counseling. So they definitely, if somebody who is from LGBTIQ communities married to the cisgender straight woman or something, they are not attracted, then definitely if they are coming to seeking help or any kinds of counseling, then definitely we will provide them.
Thank you, Sharon. Can we move over to Avanish, please?
Hi, Bibek.
Hi.
Your conviction in love is endearing. So very nice to see that. Your organization seemed to have planned a wholesome range of services for the middle-aged and elderly community. But just to understand how focused your activities are, what according to you are the top 3 problems that might come from the side?
Yes. The first thing is, for the LGBTQ community, visibility is something really important. So maybe searching our beneficiary, right, to convey our service to them. That's maybe difficult for us to get the beneficiary as much as we expected, the one. And the another is maybe the beneficiary will not come out to easily in a pilot project or something. Otherwise, I don't think there is the major issue that community to get our service, because I have understand there is so many people, LGBTIQ community especially, who is really seeking LGBTIQ friendly service, which really want to take this service. So they are. I believe if I started this space or this service, then definitely in somehow, so they want to come out. So these are the things I see challenges after going back to and after working on my field.
Just one more question. How strict are you with the age range? Like, why I am asking is why particularly you chose this age range, that is one. 2, what if a 39-year-old person or a 27-year-old person call you and say, okay, I want to come out?
I'm very, let me say, I'm very professional. And definitely I have to stick on my organization policy and value. So I already mentioned we are just working to the middle to elder age people. Then definitely, if somebody who is not our target group comes to seeking service, then definitely there is another option. We can refer them to the organization who is suitable for them.
Thank you, Avanish. Let's move over to our online panel. A question from Smita, please.
Hi Bibek, tapai ko kura chaini ramro lagyo.
Oh.
My mother tongue is Nepali. My roots are from Nepal.
Okay.
But you of course make a very compassionate appeal, and thanks for sharing your own experiences. And absolutely, there is nothing wrong with you or anybody from the LGBTQI community. It is a societal mindset issue. People who do not believe in individual rights. Having said that, when you're talking about your plan, I mean, one part of the plan I understand is running a helpline, and then, of course, giving physical counseling to the extent possible. But when you say that there are short-term and long-term plans of providing safety to the vulnerable,
yes,
I don't understand, how do you want to do it? Are you going to build a house where you can keep them safe? Because at the end of the day, it is not just about the individual waking up to their identity and accepting it.
Yeah.
That no, I'm a lesbian, I'm a gay. Even that acceptance takes a lot of time. Like you yourself said, you were confused for a lot of time. But it's also about then the society accepting it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they will have to go and be within the society. So how can you guarantee their safety in that kind of a way by saying that I will provide them short-term and long-term safety nets?
Yeah. Because right now we are planning to provide the short-term, planning to rent it the flat, but long-term it's definitely. I really imagine, or I really planning to build the house, because if you see in Nepal there is no elderly home for the LGBTIQ community. So that is my vision. Talking about the safety, right? Talking about the safety is definitely, I'm very aware about my beneficiary safety whilst they are staying in short-term and long-term safe space. So that's why I'm really concerned about their safety. That's why I'm providing them a long-term and safe space.
No, but Vivek, sorry to interfere. My point is that when you're looking at the age group of 40 and above, 40 is not elderly. 40 is just midlife.
Yes.
It is young.
Yes.
Those people are, absolutely able-bodied people who may have a work life. So it's not like you can keep them holed up inside a house to keep them safe.
Oh, okay.
How do you take forward the conversations?
Yeah. Okay.
So that the workplaces they are going to, the people in their lives, they end up accepting them once they have, recognized their own identities.
Yeah. Let me say you. So the one important thing is we have to know that those LGBTIQ community, even young or the middle age, they are disowned from their own family, right? They are get violence and stigmatization and discrimination from their own close one family. So we can't assume, their family also is safe space. So according to that, my short and long-term safe space is more safe to my community. And coming to about the how we provide or measure safe space to my community, then definitely I have to think about even I have a law and policy, and also the how to make a very stigmatization or discrimination free, safe and long-term safe space, and how can we also think about their lifestyle, their daily lifestyle. So there is a various perspective I'm thinking about to how to give a very safe, short and long-term safe space to my beneficiary. Okay. Yes.
Okay, all the best, Bibek. I don't mean to discourage you. It's good to have that passion, that commitment. I think those are the seeds from where a plant can grow. But in the process, I think you need to come down to the specifics of what you really want to do, because the specifics is what I found a little missing in your plans at this point in time. But all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your feedback. Yes.
Thank you, Bibek. All the best.
Thank you.
You are very much welcome to our house. Okay, this is my dear wife, Irene. We met in 2012 when I was starting my project. From my home to the school is about 1 hour through shortcuts. You can walk and walk. My name is Nicholas Kimoyo. I was brought up in a rural place. I attended a local school. I was forced to repeat a class because I have a visual problem. That mentality of assuming that when you come from a poor background, you are disabled, the community tells you that you are a failure. So I said, no, let me bring the change. I applied for a leadership course to go to Kanthari in Kerala, India. We began the Victor's Academy in 2012 with 5 children. The reason why we chose this name is to transform the children who are perceived by the community to be failures, to being victors in spite of any limiting factor.
My name is Yokomotinda. I am a boy. I am in class 1.
Due to family problems, Kyoko Mutinda was really in a difficult circumstance. What we did, we talked to the father, let him make the child comfortable, let him give the child the best environment.
Napenda somo la science.
From the last assessment we did, Kyoko Mutinda scooped the first position, is happy.
My name is Dunge Motuku. I am a girl. I love storybook English. My name is Mwendo Mema. I love reading.
Start reading.
Modeu Modoki. She's a girl, 7 years old. The left part of her body is weak. She just speaks very, very softly, and she has problem in manipulating objects. Through the Victor's Academy, the child has been able to interact with the children. Though not perfectly, but the child has really improved. We are looking forward to giving the child physiotherapy so that our left side can really be strengthened.
Victor's Academy's vision is of quality education. We cater for total development of the child, despite the difficulties, despite the background.
Kids are exercising well and they are doing well. Yeah, and their performance, as we rate to other schools, they are the best. Since my son joined Victor's Academy, last exam which they did, he had 96%. You know, to talk Swahili and a little English.
When I tell you to dance, 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 dance. When I tell you to dance, 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 dance.
In 2014, as we speak now, we have 33 children. I'm very motivated to make an impact in their lives.
Dance, 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 jump, 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 jump. Sit, 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 sit. Stand, 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 stand.
Okay, then there we see the other Kanthari graduate who has already made his dream come true. So all of them were once here on the stage sharing the dream, and today already impacting the lives of hundreds. So all these speakers, like 15 speakers we have already heard by yesterday and today, they are speaking today, and soon we'll see their dream coming true and impacting the lives. Right, Nara?
Yes, Shrishti. Which brings me back to Shrishti.
Now are you back to your question mood? We are almost at the end, inviting the last speaker now.
Don't worry, this time I don't have a question for you. I actually have a story for you.
Oh, wow, story?
Yes.
Then I'm interested.
Oh, thank God. All right. So you know how every year the Kanthari team and the participants go on an exposure trip?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Where they visit different NGOs on ground and learn from them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this year, when the team and the participants were traveling across South India, they actually, the train from Chennai got delayed.
Oh, yeah?
Which meant that they had to stay in the railway station overnight.
Wow.
Can you imagine? There were mosquitoes, it was super cold. But in the middle of all of this, there was only one person who knew how to keep the spirits up and stay safe.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes, last but not the least, please welcome
Israel Goodnews Balogun from Nigeria.
Where do you go when the sun sets on a long and cruel day on the streets? Where do you hide when the thunder roars and the lightning strikes? What do you do when you are chilled to the bone by the wet and the cold?
That was my life for 12 years. And what could have killed me on the street happened to be the very thing that brought me out of the street. And I'm talking about this. For every homeless street children or young adult you see, they bear a scar. It could be physical or invisible scar. Allow me to talk to you about Theo, a young boy who ran away from his home, ended up on the street. He was picked up by police, sent to jail for 2 years without any cause. Why in prison? Theo was abused by older inmates. When Theo came out of the prison, he continued to abuse other street children. Till today, Theo bear the scar. How about Nifemi, a 12-year-old girl who ran away from her abusive home? Her first night on the street, she was raped. Perhaps that is where Nifemi contracted the HIV. Up to today, Nifemi bear the scar. I won't forget to talk about Wasiu, a small boy who could not feed himself. Only way to find something to eat is to scavenge waste food from dustbin. Wasiu was diagnosed of hepatitis. He lived with a scar up to today. Maybe I'll take you through my own story. I was not always on the streets. I was born into a family of 26 siblings. My father, who has 4 wives, could not even cater for his own wife, talk less of the children. My mother and my father separated at a point for their own personal reasons, leaving me and my younger brother to cater for ourselves. Hunger was the deal of the day. There was nothing to eat. One day, I saw some children in my area going and scavenging, so I followed them. On my coming back that very day, I have money in my pockets, food in my tummy. I was so happy. It was as if the next day should come so we can go and scavenge. I follow them every day. We go in and come back. Until this particular day, I could not come back. That was my first night on the streets. It was a sharp pain that I received on my back that woke me. That was the language, which means give us money. Which money? It is called rent money. I have no money to pay them. I pleaded for them to give me another day. They beat me almost to death. But they give me one more chance to pay that money. When the day break, the only way for me to raise this money is to steal. So I waited for an old man who was a beggar. On his way going home in the evening, I followed him. And while he was going, I grabbed everything he made that day. I was able to go back to the street, settle everybody, pay my rent. I became the king of the street that very night. That was the day the street welcomed me. And that was the beginning of 12 years on the street. But I must say, I am not proud of what I did to that old man. The life of the streets is about surviving. You need to fight to live for another day. So I formed my gang. And gradually I become the leader of my gang. But this particular fight changed everything. We went for this fight, and then in the course of fighting, it's as if I was the only one who came for this fighting. They all descended on me. Knife, cutlass, bottle, That was where I sustained this scar you just saw. I was left there to die. When a good man found me, and he offered me opportunity to go to his home with him. In 12 years, I slept on a bed with foam. In 12 years, somebody actually closed the door and said to me, good night. In 12 years, somebody knocked at my door and said, food is ready. My life changed. I decided to live a new life. I wanted to be something different. I couldn't stay more than 6 months with him because he himself does not have the financial capacity to help me. I left there to Lagos, and I started riding Okada, which is called auto bicycle for commercial use. I was able to do this, send myself to school. Now today I have masters in counseling, and I'm a trained cinematographer. But then something didn't leave me, and that was the need to save many other street children and young adults in Nigeria. I started by pitying them. Whenever I see them, I look at them, I feel pity. But suddenly I realized, will I ever want anyone to pity me? No way. No way. Because every homeless street children and young adults you see, they are survivors. There is a virtue that comes with this car I just showed you. And that is the virtue we saw that made us to find Akin. Akin is a platform where homeless street children and young adults can find, develop, and explore their talents. Our intervention is in 3 stages. At the first stage, we have what we call street football tournament. This will give every homeless street children and young adult opportunity to come together and play. There, we'll be able to pitch our project to them. 20 of them who show strongest willingness will be offered a 1-year scholarship. Then we move them to the second stage. At the second stage, our participants will be able to learn how to read, to write, basic mathematics, general knowledge, basic use of computer, but more than that, it is time to tell the story the way it is. You might have watched many documentaries of homelessness, of children or young adults. How many of these stories are produced by the homeless people who are victims of the circumstances? This time, they will tell their story by themselves, produce their story by themselves. On one hand, the society will be able to understand how it is to be homeless. What are the reasons why these participants of mine are ending up on the streets? And we will give opportunity to society to think and to do something about it by themselves. On the second hand, the participant himself will be able to develop skills in different life. I'm talking about skills that will make them to be able to develop budgets, planning projects, video editing, camera handling, script writing, animations, and many other skills that will come with it. Of course, we have another important part of this second stage, which we call Akin Green City. We'll be planting trees in police stations, public hospitals, and public schools. You wonder why those 3 places? Well, this is the reason. These are 3 major sectors that has deprived homeless street children and young adults so much. We have decided to respond in love. On the third stage, now it's time to go for internship. All our participants will be matched up with an existing organizations who are in media. And for those who are interested in pursuing their career in media, acting, video editing, handling of camera, we match them up with an existing organizations. But those who say, hey, I love what I did, I want something else, we will be with them to find another path for their life. Of course, at 22 years of age, I could not read or write, but I have masters today. So any one of them who say, I want to go back to school, we'll be right there with them to go back to school. Before I go, I have some Akin who have a message for you. Just watch.
I am Akin. I survived several injuries and abuse on the streets. I am unstoppable.
I am Akin. I am good at anything I put my mind to.
Hi, I'm Akin. I was on the street for 6 years. I love to fix car. I would love to become an automobile engineer.
I am Akin. I spent 4 years on the street. Now, I am a filmmaker and I worked with Akin's Foundation.
I am Akin. We stop at nothing. We are Akin, too thick and thin. We are resilient. We are courageous. We are fearless and independent. That is who we are. Don't ever think less.
I'm proud to say I am Akin, and we are ready to tell our story to the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Israel. Let us start with your Q&A session from a question from Smita, please.
Hi, Akin. Thanks for sharing your personal experiences. I love that Akin rap. Thanks, Israel, not Akin, but you see the names all got confused. Just out of curiosity, though, before I come to my main question, are you named after the country Israel, or does Israel actually mean something in Nigeria?
Actually, in my country, the country's name is a name for children in Nigeria.
Ah,
So
okay.
when
I hope there are children called Indias too. That would be lovely. But, so Akin, I see that you have a broad, Israel, you have a broad plan of hand-holding people through different stages. In your brief, I like the fact that you have also focused that you want to take the participants to government for documentation for medical treatment, because many of them may not actually have the legal documents. Do you see any particular big problem challenge in that?
Okay,
is the government usually sort of receptive to these kind of cases?
Okay, what is needed in my country is before you run any organization, you have to register with government. They give you license, therefore you can work with them. As I'm talking to you, we have all the license needed. And so whenever we carry out our interventions, it is required of us also to bring them to the Ministry of Women and Children for documentations. So that's from there they will put them in our care for the program we have for them. So it's not an issue at all.
Okay, that's good to know. And you also said that, of course, you want them to become powerful storytellers, to use media tools. If in future, if any day you want me to come talk to your participants and help them, because I'm a journalist, I'll be more than happy to do so. But just a quick thing of what do you see as the biggest sort of financial challenge for you in this project?
Of course, before I came here, I've been doing it on a small scales. But then I have come also through kanthari's training, which has empowered me to know how, what, and where to go to raise funds. I'm not saying we will start and achieving our dream in 1 year, but the little we can start with knowledge I've acquired from here, we should be able to do something.
I'm sure you will. Thank you so much, and all the very best, Israel.
Thank you, Smita. Can we have a question from Avanish, please?
Hi, Israel. Yours was, I would say, one of the most convincing, thought-through presentations which I witnessed today. So, congratulations. You have clarity on almost all the aspects that you've mentioned. So, while you were pitching, the constant doubt was, okay, how are you going to reach out, to the youth in the streets, because it's difficult. And then you introduced that it's going to be through games or sports. Killer idea, I would say. But once you grow up in street, you say, like, there's a sense of freedom, a sense of independence. You said that, okay, you felt like the king of the street. You are a survivor. So when an individual or a growing girl or boy is so fiercely independent, do you think it's easy to bring them under a system of training?
Okay, that's exactly why we are not introducing classroom training to them. One thing you must know, that young adults on the street, they are passionate about entertainment. So you want to act, you must learn to read and write, because you write your script. The desire to go learn how to read and write is coming because you want to act. And it's mandatory for you to write your own script. When it's your story, you have to write your story. And so if you want to do that, you need to learn. So we are deriving that passion for learning by what they love doing. So the hook there is because we are exposing them to learn on their own. And then even our learning method is not about teacher coming to class and say, they play games to master alphabets. They play games to put two words together. Those are methods we are adopting to teach them.
Just one more question. Like these youth have been earning on their own through legal or illegal ways, which we are not sure. And then you're bringing them to, okay, for lack of a better word, where they're learning things and they don't get to go back to their street life and earn the money and spend it on whatever they want to. So what gratification, like I would say on a daily basis or weekly basis, do they get? I understand the eventual gratification, but what would sustain them through your program?
Okay, so we're also coming up with some little skills of what they can do. Homeless street children and young adults, they derive pride. I mean, they want dignity more than money. They want to be respected. So the idea came to me when I came to India. I saw some big posters around. Imagine I finish a video and the picture of these children are on that big posters. Then I paste it where they were living before. I tell you, even if the food is not coming, they want to stay there.
Great idea, and I wish and hope that almost all the children or youth go on to become employed as well. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Avnish. A question from Sharon, please.
A beautiful vision.
Thank you.
But such a huge responsibility. Can you take us through the organization structure you have, in the sense, probably the board, the consultants, the skills that you're bringing into your organization other than Israel Goodnews as a person?
Okay, so I'm not claiming to be expert in every of these things. One, we have a board of directors who are also expert in their own area. One of them is somebody who has 15 years of working with welfare, children on the street experience. Another one is also expert in medical, because we are very keen about the medical state of our homeless children. And also, I'm not a beaver, I'm not an eagle, I'm a frog. I come from the street, and I'm also expert in counseling and also video making. Apart from that, I have volunteers from University of Ibadan, students who are in art and culture department, who are willing to volunteer to support us in training, rehearsal, and stuff like that. I also have members of my team, 3 of them now, that are going to work with us. The last guy that spoke there, he was speak on the street, is now going to be part of our team. And 2 other guys who are also going to be helping us in time of teaching them, teaching them how to write, read, and stuff like that. So we have these people in different expertise who are willing to work with us.
So if I'm a very good football player who's found on the streets of Kenya, would I be able to play the World Cup someday just by coming to your organization on a first level?
Of course. Our street football tournament also is not organized directly by us. We are partnering with an existing football club. We are not focusing on raising footballers. What we are doing is we are giving opportunities as many as they can and want to explore. So in the course of they doing this tournament, somebody could find a talent and they want to help them or they want to work with them, it's all fine. But we are just saying this football on the street will help us to bring them together and for us to be able to pitch our program to them.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Israel.
Before you go, the chat box here is flooded with all your supporters, like too many. If I start, I won't be able to stop. It's too many. All your family, friends, everyone is here supporting you. Everyone loved your presentation. Good job, Israel.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, that brings us to the end of Kanthari Talks 2022. First of all, a very, very huge thank you and congratulations to our participants.
Yes.
You have given us amazing speeches for the past 2 days. They were beautiful and they were dynamic. A very huge thank you for our supporters as well, who were here diligently watching us physically and online.
And special thanks to all our panelists who were there to listen to our speakers, encourage them, and also spice them a bit with your critical question.
Okay, so until next year, bye!
Bye! Have a great time.